Is this Frequency Theorist 18, something like that?
I think so.
Our band has grown. We're more like Fish now. We've got like just 27 members. I love it. Well, this jam band is ready to get it going. We took a little break over the holidays, winter. We look outside, we see nature, and we go, oh, you guys are taking a break? Well, shit, we're going to take our cues from you. Don't eat that because you die if you do because that thing ate it and died. Take a break during winter? Cool, we're going to do that too. We take a lot of cues. But it is so cool to see everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Frequency Theorists, whatever this is. And it's going to be a banger. I feel it. A lot of heavy energies this week. We were talking about early here. We lost a dear member on Friday, the 24th of January, 2025. Matthew Smith from Modern Old World decided he was done with this realm and shagged ass. And we send him on with Godspeed. And love that man. Love what his work did. He had Yurt Designs on Instagram. I'm going to be linking the Antiquitech show that he did with Dave Zed and I. It was amazing. Matthew, rest in power, brother. We love you, man. Everybody, it's good to see you. All these fine folks, their song stuff, if they choose to be, will be linked down below. Natalie is joining us from the first time to see sun in her entire life because she's from Nova Scotia and she's in Hawaii
That
right now.
Newfoundland, not
Newfoundland,
Nova Scotia.
what am I? Are they different?
Oh
Ignorant.
yeah,
I
totally
kid. I
different.
joke. I joke.
One day you'll get to see it, maybe.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. In its dim glory, it sounds like. Don't bring sunglasses, right? But she's having fun out there. Kurt, good to see you. Ben, Sean, Ryan, the gang is here. Mark Ollie is not in attendance, and that's okay. Paul, good to see you. Adam, Evan, Gabe. A couple new faces. We're going to let them introduce themselves if you don't mind. Gentlemen, first of all, welcome. Welcome, welcome. This Frequency Theorist, it's a bunch of musicians and people who just kind of vibe together, and we should talk shit about whatever. So, Tom, welcome, man, if you don't mind. Tell us
Hey,
what's going on.
glad to be here. I'm coming to you from Virginia. I'm originally from here, but I spent about 16 years in New York City, and mostly as a photographer and doing audio engineering, playing
Yeah.
playing music the whole time. Yeah. And then, some stuff happened and it became a pretty inhospitable place, and I didn't really trust my neighbors anymore because it was dark. I don't think people you talk to them in Virginia, they have no idea just the intense world that was. So I never saw the place the same, and my family needed some help, so I came back down to Virginia, and my girlfriend bought a church, so we renovated the church. We're in it now. It's still getting a little decorated, but there's also a graveyard out there.
Nice.
That's
People,
awesome. Do you avoid property tax because of that, or does one of your kin have to be buried there for that?
that part of it, I'm not sure. Everyone asks about upkeeping it, and there's a neighbor who has family members that own a section of it, so they come and help out a lot, and we try to keep it look nice and around here. So
Oh, I was thinking like mow it, huh? Yeah. You guys have some
yeah,
goats
lots of
loose over there.
leaves. We have so many trees.
Mm.
When we moved here, we kind of took out the problem ones, and there was tons of firewood. And we're in a funny place near the Potomac River where it's not super rural, but uh, people out here burn a lot of wood. So we met a lot of our neighbors just giving away firewood.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great way to meet the neighbors. Take a tree down or something. You're like, hey, you guys, come on by. Pick up as much as
Yeah.
you can carry home. I love it. Dude, well,
To
that's badass.
shorten the tale, I got my first full-time job at the age of 39, and I'm a full-time photographer in town. So it's kind of wild from coming from the freelance world, but
That's awesome. What's the craziest thing you've ever been hired to take a picture of for somebody? You're with friends. It's
um,
okay.
it's a lot of boring stuff. But I'd say the craziest one was the Lehman Brothers building, like the day before they went bankrupt. Like there's a guy in the big fail, big fake. I can't remember. It was like a financial movie, and there's a photographer out front. He was the only one at the moment, and I was the first one there. And when I watched the movie, I was like, "Holy crap! Someone's someone's me in this movie."
Big
That's
Short.
awesome. Did they cast you well?
Big Short, yeah. Thank you.
So they have somebody playing you, doing photography work for them the day before they were
I was
Declaring
working for
bankruptcy?
Bloomberg News at the time.
Ah,
They seemed to have an early scoop, so I was there, and they would just hire me to take pictures of buildings. And I just assumed it was that. And then the reporter's like, you know what's going on, right? I'm like, nope. So just like watch people come out with boxes of their stuff. And was, there's a picture in the New York Times front page for about 15 minutes. And it's about the most I've been there.
damn. Okay. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. We have the most interesting stories. Gabe with his tryout, for Wolf Mother and almost got and all this. It's just so interesting. HK, man, want to give you a second or as long as you would like, actually, to say hi and say welcome, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name's Hugh, originally from Hawaii. Moved to Arizona from California a few years back, and really enjoy it. Been watching the show and appreciate uh, the the thoughts and expanding the mind that you've presented. So, I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Very cool. Yeah. Just asking a shitload of questions, right? There's a
Yeah.
guitar behind you there. What do you play? What do you like? What's your favorite kind of music-ish? We know, it's hard to pin
I'm
down.
still learning actually. It's just I just busted it out. I had that in storage for a while and just
Nice.
getting back on it. Yeah.
Yeah, just the rule, right? Keep it in tune. Just that's
Yeah.
it. Start there and then
Yeah.
just go to town, man. Train in your ear at the same time, right? What kind of music do you like to listen to normally?
Uh, Pretty much anything. Mostly, rock, some of the I guess quote new age type stuff and whatever's good. I've been listening to like 21 Pilots recently.
Badass, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, badass, yeah. Okay, well, love it. Variety of taste, and that's important in a musician as well. You gotta like, or at least listen to a bunch of different shit and go, "Oh yeah, I like that." Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. Paul, man, something happened with your music this week. Do you want to talk about it, buddy?
Yeah,
Good to see you,
and
dude.
you can stop me at any time. So I discovered um, Brandon through the expanding reality, and he talks about a lot of conspiracy theories, and I think I've just joined one. So I've been producing music for 12 years. I've been releasing it for 6 years onto all the usual streaming platforms, and I released a song 12 months ago about the deep state, and I've been slaughtered. So my whole music catalog's been removed from everywhere, and I've lost 6 years of work. It's really, really hard. And I know there's people that do political stuff, and I'm a big fan of your Edward Snowdens and your Julian Assange and Bradley Mannings. And I think that some people, when they speak out, sometimes they're going to pay for it. I'm not in jail anywhere, but yeah, I was really upset by what happened. It's 6 years worth of work, and like I've been on these platforms for years and never ever had an issue, and it's absolutely brutal. I got bot streamed 6 different occasions in 50 locations across the US, which is the home of the deep state. And this is not a criticism of the US. Like I've got lots of American friends, and I'm always watching US politics. I'm very interested in what's happening because there's implications globally. Um, and I've done music about the environment before. I've done music that talks about really bad corporations and their behaviors, but this time I started naming specific events. And I specifically referred to the shutdowns that happened during COVID, about the Canadian truckers who had their bank accounts shut down and locked out. And I thought, I'm going to say something about this. This is not right. And I put it in music. And yeah, I've had 12 months of problems, and it's cost me a lot of money and a lot of time. And I just feel muted now. And moving forward, I just don't know if I want to do any more political music. And you might be thinking back and saying there's so much political music on Spotify, and I follow artists that are talking about really deep themes that are hitting us across the world, particularly with freedoms. And I'm not delusional. I don't think someone from the CIA is sitting down watching me on their computer, but they have algorithms and they scan the internet for content and they shut it down. And
I was
yeah, I was part of that. So I'm really, really, it's only happened on Thursday. So it's only 4 or 5 days old. I'm still kind of licking the wounds, and I'm just thinking, what next? Sorry, Gabe. What are you going to say?
Oh no, I was gonna say
Oh,
my
sorry, it
bad,
was
dude.
Evan. Sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off either. No, I was going to say, I think it's, if I had to bet money on one way or the other, if it's probably an algorithm, and if any of your accounts are still alive, like test it, like by like labeling it something different and like whatever, like I love Uncle Sam or like, and see if you can pass the filter that way, or if it actually actively like tracks through your mute. That's
I agree with Evan. Like I got like a lot of my videos taken down because I said the jab way too many times on YouTube and they didn't like that for a little bit. They've changed their minds now, but like if you said the jab just enough times, they'd be like, "Up, screw your content, just yanked it
Yeah.
down." Or if you titled it something different, like Evan was saying, like then you could change the whole vibe. I don't know. But again, I don't know if it's the algorithm just listening through your whole thing and saying, "Oh, he said a word I don't like. Bye."
Yeah.
Changing the
And
titles used to work. I know with Sharon and myself, our podcast, we were doing that on YouTube. We were like spelling shots with a zero instead of an O, just to throw
yeah.
it off. And that worked for a little while, but then they caught on, and you should see my I have an inbox in my alternate email address that I use for that account, and it's just like YouTube removed your content, YouTube removed your content, YouTube removed it. It's like at least a dozen YouTube removed your content messages from them. They just systematically went through and just wiped it off, and so we're not, obviously we can't be on YouTube. We've been off there since 2022, and but we get suppressed very heavily on Rumble too. So you really never know with these platforms.
And I think about bands like Rage Against the Machine and bands that have been political all throughout their career, but we're in a different world now, and I don't think there's a lot of content online about the deep state and COVID and lockdowns and the freedoms that have been removed from us in the last 5 years. And yeah, like I said, I don't think it's someone there spying on me. And what you're saying, Gabe and Evan's probably correct. It's probably an algorithm that's doing it. But what happens is when you get bot streamed, the songs can't be there anymore. So you have to remove them, which I've done. And I just don't have the money to go back through that process again all the time. And I've just got to figure out another way of doing it. I've got to be more creative. But I really get concerned about people being shut down, and all the things that we're talking about, they're not conspiracy. Like, these are in front of us all the time. I know Gabe talks a lot about people, concepts that people see as still conspiracy, but it's out there and the information's there. And I think music is a lot of things to us people. That's why we hear it. It's bookmarks of memories in our lives. But political music is a bookmark of how we were thinking and behaving in a particular time in a very specific set of rules. And I just really worry about the silence. And I don't think it's going to change with the new government in the US. I think it's going to be a different flavour. And I just worry about us as musicians who feel like we've got something to contribute to the political culture and just getting shut down. And I've got to figure out another way of getting through this. But yeah, all the music, I think they removed half of my catalogue, and then I made a decision to remove the rest of it. It's like 40 songs and 12 years of producing that. And I don't want to go on about it all day. I don't want to bring you down. It's just
Hey,
something
Paul.
that's happened, and I've got to work my way through it.
Have you heard of value for value music?
No.
Using like Lightning Bitcoin payments?
No.
I set up this system.
I'll grab a pen. I'll grab a
yeah.
pen. Thank you.
We'll get you guys connected. Make sure y'all send emails in the chat to each other and all that kind of stuff too, because that's what this is family. This is love. This is empowerpreneurs at some point, right?
I just want to interject a couple of things here before I got to dart off for a second. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties.
I got you. I'm going to mute you. I'm going to mute your other one. Go ahead.
Two things. It's so complicated. But yeah, as a musician, feedback here. As a musician, I'm just going to turn.
I'm on it.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Shit.
I kicked your other one out. We were getting like this other effect. That's okay. It was wild. I muted it and it still did that. That's crazy. But Tom, put a pin in it, buddy. We want to hear what you have to say. Okay, thank you. Okay, you're good to go, Natalie.
Oh, really? Jesus. Oh my God. This is such a state me trying to.
Mary Magdalene, we can hear you. You're good to go. Tom, why don't you tell us what you're talking about? And we'll see if Mary
Jesus.
Magdalene
I
can
am
come
just so
back.
confused right now.
Yeah, sure.
Jesus. Love it. Go ahead, please.
It's a way that like a listener to a radio show could donate directly to the artist if they have a setup to receive a lightning payment. You don't actually have to have the physical infrastructure. There's services that do it. I actually went through and set up a Raspberry Pi to do it, and it's not too complicated. I used the Umbrel system, and it has a lot of other cool functionality to it. I'm really not like the IT dude either. I'm
Yeah.
more of a creative guy, so it's definitely manageable. And there's people that really want to help with it. I have another friend named Booberry. He has this show called Behind the Schemes, and he's actually traveled and done live shows where they'll stream it and people pay during the show. And if you set a value, you're kind of locked in like at your height. Like sometimes you're missing the opportunity that where people actually want to pay you a little more, and it's a way to do that.
That's brilliant. It's like love bombing. We've heard of these debt bomber or something like that, debt bashers. I've heard these guys, and they get shut down almost immediately. And there are interesting ways to go about doing something like this. But they'll get groups of people, meetings of like Zoom or Signal groups of like tens of thousands of people in this one group, and they'll all donate like $1 or whatever they want. Honestly, they, like you, didn't limit it. If people want to limit it, send $5, send $100, whatever. People sort of treat this as community investment, and what they'll do is they'll just love bomb one person's PayPal. It would be like all of us doing this, everybody pitching in $20 or something, and we all love bomb Evan's PayPal, something like this, right? And you just sort of do it random, and so everybody that comes back together, we're all showing up as a team and helping each other, and it's just called love bombing, man. But Tom, I like this because it's real time. You can sit there and donate in real time to people to their chosen methodology. That's brilliant, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. Solutions based. Paul, does that make you smile? Look at that. Look at that smile, Paul.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the way to get around, we're dealing with censorship, right? And everything is it's centralized. So yeah, like there must be a way to use blockchain. There must be a way to use decentralized payments and instead of posting videos on YouTube or like get away from all these centralized entities and start moving everything onto the blockchain to where it can't be it can't be censored. There's however many thousands or millions of computers that are running this. So there's not just one point, there's not just one choke point where they can cut people off. It seems like that's got to be a solution. It's just how long is it going to take before enough people start getting on board with it?
And I think that as much as I hope you don't mind me keep saying the deep state through this is, but as much as they keep trying to shut people down, there's a lot of creatives that are thinking about, like you said, Sean, how to deal this outside of the box. And so my theory is that for everything that the deep state is doing, there's rebels that are fighting the system and they're going to develop technologies. There's people that are developing things behind the scenes now that we don't even know exist. That's a way of fighting back this censorship. But it's going to be an ongoing battle for a while. And it's not just happening musically. We can see it happening with journalists. We can see it happening with documentary filmmakers. It's happening on so many levels. And I think it's a human right to be able to speak what we believe is true in a compassionate and kind way. You don't have to be racist or aggressive to people, but if we can see a bad behavior, we should be able to call it out, and we shouldn't be censored for that. And I just think it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better, to be honest. So buckle up. We got to stick together.
Hear me?
We can, yeah, and I do not disagree, Paul, at all, man. Hear you loud and clear, dude. We're sort of feeling this, right, as empaths. I don't know if you guys have been sort of extra bummed lately, and, the answer I've been given is that, it's sort of sweeping the realm for folks like us who give a shit, It's kind of like that we can feel it early. We feel the wave of the hard part Paul's talking about coming now, even though it's like we're in the crow's nest. We're Lieutenant Dan yelling at the storm. You know what I mean? But we see it first. And it's a heavy thing, man, because I mean, how do you numb it? You know, how do you navigate it? You strength up and then you go, okay, well, we're like Paul said, man, buckle up. We're just in for it. Just keep moving.
This whole month has been screwy. Sorry, go ahead, Natalie.
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting a little bit.
I'm so sorry for my technical difficulties, guys.
No problem.
I'm like trying to be part of it. It's like a big disaster. But I actually just wanted to just like say hi, be part of it. Unfortunately, I got dirt off. But I heard you talking about being a musician, and I'm a musician, and I started, with the whole grunge scene and punk rock scene, thinking that this was the alternative, that this was the, true rebellion. But during the whole COVID mandate thing, it was a real disappointment. It was really disillusioning to realize that what I had sort of dedicated my a whole chunk of my life to was a real disappointment, because they were the ones that all supported these totalitarian measures. So it was a really weird time. And then I ended up becoming part of the rebellion, like the whole trucker scene up in the Canadian scene, and the crowd that I had grown up with, the punk rock alternative, they were the ones supporting the totalitarian measures. So it was a really disillusioning time. But yeah, it's a weird time to be a musician, because they all seem to support the totalitarian, do what they say. So the whole mantra of like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, like Rage Against the Machine, it was just really weird, because that whole demographic ended up being, no, do what they say. Like
rage on behalf of the machine, right? Is what we were calling. Yeah.
So it's been a really weird time. And to be alternative nowadays means like, apparently you're like, you're right wing, or you're a right wing extremist, which really, I don't see it that way at all, really. It's just a freedom from the wings, or that dichotomy. But
yeah, Mary, I could add to that. I grew up on Midnight Oil, and I became a political music because of them. And they kind of got back together about 5 years ago. They did a farewell tour 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And that was in the middle of the pandemic, and they said nothing. And I was just really, really upset. And I thought they were vocal about so many human rights issues over their career. They spoke heavily about Exxon and bad corporations, about Indigenous human rights in Australia. They said nothing. U2, who started out as a political band, said nothing about the pandemic, and they sold out, and they were supporting the narrative of the deep state. And you're right, like I've just felt abandoned by all these bands. And you could argue that I shouldn't have put all my faith in these people. I get that. But I grew up on political music, and I can't think of one. Actually, there's one band and one artist that said something. So I'm also a big INXS fan, showing my age. And the drummer from INXS was doing really balanced arguments on Instagram, talking about people have the right to make their own decision, as opposed to the state forcing jabs into people. He was the only musician, and I've got hundreds of bands that I follow from my whole childhood that said something about the lockdowns. Like, I was just disgusted about all the music I grew up in. And I just feel, and even Muse, who write political music, like, they don't name names. It's all really high level. They talk about revolution and fighting back the government. And a lot of the Muse music covers that deep state topic, but they don't name names and they don't talk about it. And it's very vague. And I thought, no, not enough. Not enough. Sorry, I'm just on a rant.
Timeless from their point of view. They're like, hey, I can insert whoever here. And I think Roger Waters did, right? He kind of did not take kindly to the nonsense. So we can at least still keep faith in Floyd there.
But is that kind of
100%, 100%.
When you think about people being like hypnotized, like when I learn about hypnosis, because I'm really into hypnosis, it's almost like you're just hitting a brick wall anyway. Like, you can't really rationalize, because you're up against people's programming. So, I mean, not that I'm a famous musician, but like just locally where I am, I'm just locally known. And I guess I could have been a little bit more vocal, but I just felt like it was just a lost cause. And so I try to just meet people where they are and try to give them love, and try to let my friends that I grew up with know that I wasn't with the program, but just kind of just in a sort of drip kind of way, because you're just hitting a wall,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I am going to show you guys something here.
I actually have to leave, but I'm going to drop back on maybe afterwards if you guys are still on the go. And thanks so much for the short and sweet little hangout there. Thanks for letting me be part of it.
It's good to see you,
Thank you.
darling. And through her Instagram in the chat, guys, so that you can get a couple extra follows over there. You guys go check her out.
Actually-
She's an amazing musician. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, guys. And my name is Natalie, but I think I might be logged on as Mary Magdalene there because
You are. It's okay. We know who you are. You're family.
I logged
It's all
in
good.
on my phone. I'm just having technical difficulties, but have a great chat, guys. And maybe I'll pop on if you guys are still on the go later. And peace.
Sounds awesome. Thank you. Good to see you.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Aloha. Yeah.
Bye.
Aloha, Felicia. Okay, so to what she's talking about, have you guys seen this Lana Del Rey clip where the crowd gets fucking knocked over?
No.
Have you guys not seen this? Okay, so she was in Mexico.
Big crowds in Mexico.
Yep, big crowd in Mexico. And the dancers on stage, and this has been broken down by people, but I won't do it here. But the dancers on stage started dancing weird. They were all in white. As soon as Lana Del Rey went down at some point, hit the stage, boom. An energy surge swept through the crowd that knocked everybody over. And she's like a proclaimed witch and all those kinds of things. Now, sound can do this, you know, infrastructure sound, the low shit that alligators put out, probably T-Rex too, if that thing was real. It was more like a dragon probably. But anyway, they put out this low thing called infrasound, Bigfoot allegedly as well. And this is what stunned their prey. I don't want to just see this chick, whatever.
I've never heard of this, Brendan.
Yeah, it's called the brown note.
Yeah, the brown note was fascinating too. That's awesome.
I've heard of the blue note.
The story of the brown note's cool as shit too. Ryan, do you know that?
I think this is different than that, right?
This is different than that, but we sideshow. We're all squirrel here. Go ahead.
This is probably just flatulence.
This right here, everybody at once, and yeah. Well, if you haven't, gotten used to the diet, it took me 2 weeks to start shitting right when I went to China, so I get it. It takes your body a second to adjust. Yep. But where were we, Ryan? Go with it.
Oh, I was just, I saw everyone fall down, and it just reminded me and Mark Ollie talking about the brown note at the Stabbing Westward show I went to, where they hit this bass drop that was so deep, kind of made you want to shit yourself, and
wow,
that kind of looked like what happened, maybe on a different frequency.
Yeah, possibly. And the brown note's a real thing. There was a guy back in the day made an organ, ran the pipe underneath the church right there. But to hit that low of a note, the diameter and length of the pipe, he needed it to be a sewer pipe. That was the only thing around, which ironically was the thing that hit the note that made everybody shit their pants. Was a damn sewer pipe. Like, it's a brilliant story. But it was called the brown note, and it's a very real thing. You can hit it. South Park did a whole thing on it. Okay, but this shit's crazy. I mean, this is like witchcraft and music, right? Maybe, but it builds her up to be this huge mystic chick. But really, I mean, these speakers right here could send a pulse of just infrasound right here and just let it smash through the audience there. But look at what that does to the crowd. I mean, who gives a shit how it's happening? But look at that. Watch this.
It's a wave.
It is a wave.
So, Brendan, is this dark magic? I'm sorry if I'm missing.
And that's the thing, right? Is it dark magic, or is it the Wizard of Oz, where she's just got a bunch of speakers set up to make, the crowd go at this certain time, and then she puts on these white outfits. But this chick, again, confessed witch. She was in Mexico. Who knows? Rules are different.
Brendan, I've got quite a few friends in Australia that are white witches, and they're close friends of mine, and none of them do magic on anyone else. It's like an unwritten.
Yeah, it's like the rule, right? Yeah, you don't.
Yeah,
and you don't
that's really fucked up.
Yeah, and you don't want to go over to one of their houses, see your name written on a jar or something either. I heard. But
well, definitely not
crazy.
Without.
What were you saying, Evan?
Oh, I was going to say definitely not without their permission. That's the rule numero uno. But if they took a super pressure wave of sound, like not the brown note, we'll just say the purple note or whatever.
Sure.
And aimed it kind of at the ground and then swept along the ground. Like that's what I would expect to happen. Like, which I think is possible.
Force. It's crazy. And look, you could see it choreographed with her hitting the stage here. If you focus, I keep playing it, but right up here, if you focus, see where she bends down and then boom, this fucking wave.
And then everyone shit themselves.
Brendan, I've seen bands like Pearl Jam stop concerts if they saw people that were injured or at risk of being injured, and to do that deliberately to people, like half of them could have had their heads hit the ground. You just don't know.
it was like 15 injuries or something like this with
Yeah.
it, and it was pretty severe shit. You know, I mean, you're getting fucking knocked over by this witch.
Well,
What
It's
if-
Solana,
wild.
Solana Del Rey. I mean, you wouldn't see something like this at a Steely Dan concert or something.
You would not, yeah. Dire Straits isn't doing this.
They just play good
Good
music.
call. Yeah,
What if-
all your wives do this when Mark takes the stage and just sploosh. You know what I mean? They
Why
get
can't
into
people
Sultans
just
of
do
Swing,
good music?
boom, you're done.
What-
They
It's the
can,
million-dollar
buddy.
question.
But I think what you're experiencing right now is the answer to this, Bubba. You know, we've talked about this realm wide. It feels that all of the shit out there, and even the structures we need to operate in, and blah blah blah, are there to motivate us to do something better, to do something new, to do something different, even though it's hard. And if you think about it, now you're going to become an expert on music, and maybe a music in the interface between how to get it from just creating it to the digital space. I've learned this with the show. I needed to be a graphic designer for some goddamn reason. I had to make fucking thumbnails and shit. And if you're not doing it, then you're retarded, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I'll get Canva, I'll learn how to do this, but it's actually come in great handy, and now I help other people with their projects and shit. But it will scale you up in ways that you didn't want. Like, nobody fucking wants to create the music and fucking be sitting here. You're like, oh, now I have to learn how to like make a CD and like burn it and then figure out a printing press to make the insert. Like, it's that. Yes, it's ground up systemic, because what I'm learning about in the sovereignty community as I go through this is you're your own everything. That's what self-governance is. Now, what's more fascinating to this is we're all pissed off at this fucking system and tired of it too, and we can all help each other. I mean, already here, Tom can help. Natalie, it sounds like, had some things to offer in the arena, but it feels like that our goal here is to take all the fucking bullshit out there and to stop using it as training wheels and to remove them because we no longer need them, right? So there are interfaces available, Paul, where now you can pivot to a free place where your music is going to be appreciated by an aligned community, and then like Sean's saying, get off the decentralized shit. You know, I mean, we're all doing our best to navigate decentralized shit to get people to come help us with our own shit. And it's an interesting switch, man. And they just keep
Get
pulling
off
more and
the-
more stuff.
Get off the centralized shit and get on the
Exactly.
decentralized shit.
That shit. Yeah. Did I say it the other way
And
around?
Brandon, a thing that I
Yeah.
mentioned in my
Thank
video
you.
is the last 12 months, so all 2024, I spent my whole year knee deep in really deep spiritual text. And then I caught up with a friend of mine at the beginning of this year, and I was reflecting on how much time I'd spent on them. And she looked at me, and she was one of these friends that's that white witch, and she said, well, you're going to need all that next year. And so I think, like you said, when we're throwing these issues, you have to be really philosophical, and we have to realize that these things come to us for reasons. So I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a victim, because
No.
there's really, really horrible things happening to people over the planet now, and my music being removed from streaming is not in the top 1 million.
I'm not going to
but
let
the-
you do
the-
that.
But it
We're not
doesn't
gonna do
matter.
that.
It doesn't matter because that's what you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Actually,
you.
thank you for sharing, because I just want you to know that you're not alone. This whole month so far has been just like, and me too, but everyone I've
Yeah.
talked to, they feel like their faces are just being, to use a quote from Jim Morrison, their faces are being pressed into the shit of the world. And
Yeah.
that's what you're saying, what you went through with your streaming services is just, yeah, comparatively to, there are millions of people that would gladly trade spots with you and I, but we're still ultimately dealing with whatever we have to deal with, and that doesn't diminish it. So,
Dude, no, that's the
it's-
garden you're
it's-
tending. You know, that's what's important, Paul. It's the garden you're tending, because the way you're tending your gardens is the light you can shine. So it does. It's the only thing that matters, honestly. There's nothing else that matters in the world right now until you figure this out. One philosophical thing I will throw at you guys, and this gives me little comfort at all, but it still seems to be the way things go. That whatever is happening right in front of you, it's not about the thing. It's about the way the thing makes you feel and how it triggers you and how you're able to surmount it or be motivated by it and alchemize that instead of hold it and let it ground you, which I'm the most guilty of. I'll stuff it down, I'll let it ground me, I'll let it fucking ruin weeks of my life for nothing. And then I'll figure out a solution and move on. And it's fucking dumb. And I don't disagree with you. And I didn't want to be a goddamn graphic designer, Paul, but I wanted to do a podcast. And so that seemed to be that's just the deal, right? And within
And I'm
that,
here because of your podcast, and thousands
Well,
of
there you
people
go.
around the world are,
it's because I
are
make great
listening to it,
thumbnails.
and
You wouldn't ever
yeah,
heard
and I
about
love it.
it. Have I been shit at thumbnails? You'd never heard about it, buddy. You see? So what I'm saying is my thumbnails got you here, and thank God, Canva. God bless it. It's the best investment.
I have a
But
quote to
thank you.
follow up on yours. It's pretty close, actually. It's a Rainier Maria Rilke one. It's let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. I have that on a board at work too.
Thank you.
It helps.
Beautiful. That's it right there. It's the line Mary and I quote from Prometheus all the fucking time. Whenever the android David is watching the movie and the guy's cutting himself and he goes, he didn't react. And he's like, yeah. He's like, but didn't it hurt? And he goes, well, yeah, it hurts. And he goes, well, what's the trick then? He goes, the trick is not minding that it hurts. And that motherfucker right there, it's so simple. It's so whatever, but it's everything. It's everything, Paul. It's everything. Now, the thing about this is it's going to pop you right in your soul's narrative's butthole, okay? Because that meant something to you. It's very personal to you. And that got invaded, right? You were not only stuffed in the face of the shit of the world, you were skull fucked in the face by the shit of the world. And is now an opportunity for you just to go, okay, and then clean yourself off. We're all here for you. We got power washers, dude. We're here to help. And just keep moving forward. Like, take it and don't be ashamed to fucking cry, scream, tell the world it fucking sucks ass because it does. Tell God he's a piece of shit. And you can't wait to punch him in the face because you do. I get it. And just we're here though for you, man. But I really do always think it's never about the thing. It's about something bigger than the thing. I recently went through a whole thing with my mom on this, and now I'm grateful for the role that they play in our lives to fuck us up so bad, man. Now I see it so clearly, and I started practicing this thing and it really started working out. So from personal experience, sit with it, breathe, chaos, fucking let it be, man, and be pissed. Be absolutely upset. It's fucking stupid and it sucks, man. But it's going to motivate you to do something so much cooler, Paul, and you're going to be very grateful for it, even though it sucks ass right now.
And the last thing I want to throw in is that for all of us musicians, we are soundtracking the new age. And I don't mean to say that in a big esoteric way, but we are here to write songs and download songs that are going to soundtrack what's happening to the world now. And that's why we can't give up. And so we need to write about the transition of humanity moving into a more compassionate space, moving away from materialism, all the things that you talk about, the concepts in your podcast, Brendan. We are moving into an age where that becomes the normal thinking. And us as musicians have, not as a martyr, but we have a responsibility to kind of soundtrack that for people. And we all have to add songs to that. And yeah, like you said, I've got to make up how that's going to happen moving forward. And I don't have an answer yet, but I haven't given up. But I think the whole musical community needs to keep soundtracking what's happening to humanity as bookmarks in our history. And I think the stories that are going to be unfolding in the next 4 and 5 years are going to be much bigger than the last 4 and 5 years. I think the changes are going to go on steroids with technology, with all those global themes that are hitting us at the moment. And so I think we need to kind of, even if we've only got a small audience of a couple of people, there's one random woman in Italy that's obsessed with my music. And I think, well, there's one person that loves it. That's really cool, and she's always been there through everything.
Well, I sent you Steve Falconer. Evan, I'm going to get to you, buddy. I've sent you Steve Falconer's email to your personal chat there, Paul. So you contact him, man. He's over in the Netherlands, Denmark, I think, somewhere.
I think it's Belgium.
Copenhagen. Thank you. Yes.
Denmark.
Yeah, Copenhagen. And so he he gigs 4 or 5 nights a week. He actually doesn't join us for this because we have this when he's gigging. So he's been on the show a couple times. Amazing dude. He sings only about this kind of shit and then probably covers in the bar. So I sent you his email. That's another great connect for you to figure out how to liberate your music in that way, because he's singing liberated music and they've got it out and they've got ways of putting it out. And he's got another partner that's helping him as well. It's really cool. They're doing exactly what you're talking about. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, man. That's what this is about. Anybody else? AIDS, cancer, world hunger? What else we got? Let's solve it all right now.
And I just say this has been beautiful to watch everybody help Paul come up with these solutions. And I agree. This is exactly what this is for.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, you're so loved, Paul. Get it in. I'm hugging you. I'm touching your butt a little too. Evan, what were you going to say, bud?
Oh, no, I just wanted to chime in kind of as a yes and to everybody's thing, and maybe help for the Paul situation as well. But I was thinking the Lana Del Rey thing, just in terms of whatever mystic tradition, white magic, however you want to look at it. The positive version of that would be, to my mind, like in ancient Egypt, if they used a bunch of folks to focus that inward on like a block or something and float it, like the backwards version of that would be them pressing that out to the crowd and knocking them over. I would personally suggest that as a musician, like whatever your instrument, like your voice, whatever you can imprint like your intention into the sonic wave itself, where people could pick it up later at a later date. That's personally what I believe. And then no matter what way you get it to them, they will pick up on what you meant. I think that's a way, like the inverse of Lana Del Rey, knock the crowd over, like friggin' implode your way to like lifting or something. Like maybe somebody, you figure out a way everybody listens to a song and they can levitate for fucking 20 minutes or something. Like,
that'd be cool.
Sweet, hell yeah. Like I think it's possible. But yeah, like,
no, I've had partners before that are obsessed with particular male voices, and they're the usual suspects: Jeff Buckley, Elvis, Chris Isaac. And I wonder if the reason they like their music so much is because it's the frequency of their voice. And I think as musicians, when we write and record music, we need to be really mindful of the energy that we're putting into it. It shouldn't be about panic or about lack of. And we need to put that energy of the feeling into the music, and people will understand it even if they don't understand the lyric. Like I get people in South America listening to my music and they're not even English speaking. So I think that that's a very interesting point, and I'm trying to be more conscious moving forward and not tell my stories out of anger. You know, that story about the deep state was a very angry story, and I thought I've got to tell that in a different way to get the same message across. And I understand what you're saying, and it could be 2 years, 5 years later, if someone hears a piece of music from anybody, when they really resonate with that song, it's not necessarily the lyric or the style or anything. It's the vibration of the artist that have injected into it. So I'm trying to be a better conscious musician when I'm recording moving forward.
You know, I think something's weird about this conversation. And I just mean for me, because I listen to a bunch of artists that talk about, you know, political stuff or whatever. Like Tom McDonald, he's a rapper from America and white
I know
guy.
him well.
Yeah, and he wrote a song called "Bitch You Missed," and it's up there. And you know, about Trump getting shot or whatever, and it's fucking huge, but it didn't get taken down. But if I wrote one, you know what I mean? Like, so what's
Well,
I
yeah,
don't understand
you
how
need
it's
it to,
why is it working
you
this
need
way?
it to go viral. If it goes viral,
that's a big
right?
question, Ryan. I don't have an answer, and I don't know why some people get through the door and others don't. And there's a big conspiracy. If you listen to people now talking about Joe Rogan, they're saying he's part of the deep state. He's not the alternative. And so you wonder if sometimes artists are coming through and they're actually prompted by the deep state behind them. Right. I don't know. I don't know that answer. We can just speculate, really.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's, you know, like it goes back to the YouTube thing. I said jab 2 or 3 times. They took me down. But you watch Joe Rogan. He says that 55,000 times and he's still up there making millions of views. So what's the deal?
So Gabe said, I'm not alone, and I love hearing your stories, and I don't like hearing that you guys are suffering or experiencing being shut down or silenced, but it's nice to know that it's part of a wider issue. I love hearing this, and it makes me feel less of a victim in a way, which is very selfish, but I'm grateful.
It would be a far worse feeling to think that it's just you and you're like, am I going crazy?
Thank you, Gabe.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you do. Because some people are saying, so you think the CIA is listening to your music? And I said, no. I said, but an algorithm is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows? You know, maybe the CIA was just a front for the AI, and it was waiting for society to get caught up to the fact that it was already present and just giving us these puppets, you know, these little mindless drones that have been infected with the Vril. We've talked about Vril, those eye-infesting worms, and they make everybody the Borg, you know? Hitler's gang.
There's a really good lyric in a song by Midnight Oil, and it said, it's better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. And that's my favorite quote of all time. And I think that's what holds me together. Like I didn't sell out. I didn't change who I am. And if I've been shut down or silenced, it wasn't because I was afraid to say something. I said what I needed to say, and I have to pay the price, whatever that is. It's better than being silenced.
Man, I'm fired up. You guys should feel these nipples. I mean, dude, you got it. Just keep going, man. You know,
That's what all the girls say,
like
Brandon.
you said, yeah, like you
Feel the
said,
nipples.
it's
Smuggling raisins.
it's it's you're forged by it, man. You know, and you watched all your heroes fall behind you, and that's okay. You know, they fell behind. That's all right. You get to keep going where they left off. The good news is you can do whatever you want. The bad news is you can do whatever you want, right? So just do whatever you fucking want. Just stay focused, stay true, and fuck everything else, man. I'm telling you, this is like your greatest hour. Even though it sucks ass right now, it's your greatest hour.
You know,
Can I share another quick story?
I was going to say something. Yeah, they're just, you know, the elections we just had recently, and you know, you mentioned Joe Rogan, right? And he's obviously had, you know, yeah, Trump on as an interview, right? And I mean, and it's not just him, like all mainstream media, they never mention anything about housing for homeless people. No one ever mentions anything about raising minimum wage to keep up with inflation and actually keep up with the cost of living. No one talks about getting everybody health care. And I mean, on the subject of healthcare, privacy of healthcare, that's anything that happens, whether you get a jab or not, or whether you get an abortion or not, that's nobody's business. That's between you and your doctor.
100%.
That's it. Like, and all the, like, it seems like there's all these issues that everyone is just silent on. Like, no one is getting asked those questions. It's painful. Like, yeah, you're watching these interviews, or watching presidents or whoever politicians get they're never getting any kind of hard questions, because it's just like ignore, you know. So the majority of people that are watching their TV just probably don't even think about stuff that might actually matter, or you know, how to actually try to live sustainably and not have to depend on the store. Like all of these things, it just seems like so far out of reach. It's painful, but you know, yeah, hopefully we'll get there. But
and we've got to be really careful not to be diverted by these things that you said, because they're not, you know, we're concerned with abortion issues or the border, but like you said, people can't feed themselves, and the homelessness is increasing. People can't afford healthcare. Like, these are the real issues, and like, you're right, and no one's talking about it. You know, I saw a post the other day about the moon landing, and I said it doesn't actually matter whether it happened or not. What my concern is 55 years later, we're still arguing about this while the deep state's planning 5 steps ahead. So everything in political space is a theater, and we're arguing about the wrong things. Like I said, it doesn't matter whether the moon landing happened or not. It's interesting, but that was 55 years ago. And if they could pull that off 55 years ago, what the hell are they up to now? And when you have like the elections coming up, you're right, the politicians are talking about all these superficial issues to aggravate people and separate people. And they're not talking about homelessness. And they're not talking about minimum wage. They're not talking about the key issues. And it's all theater. It's really, really a big diversion from what's really happening. And most people buy into it.
Yeah.
But it's our job to show those people that they don't have to, and that what they're showing you is being shown to you on purpose, and then it's perception management, and we're just going to live the shit out of our lives, you know? We're going to live them awesome. And we're going to say, fuck all that nonsense and go do our own thing. Because again, all this stuff I see from the crow's nest we are in, guys, this is all to motivate you to create your own. Look at, like, yes, all those things do exist, but look in mass at what's happening with the unschooling movement, with all of the things happening right now with politics, with people taking over local elections, because we've been saying it for a long time here, like 70% of local elections go uncontested. So if you're interested in that, go to your local town, whatever, and kick the old boots out and start making change in your garden, where you're at, tend your garden. And it's these opportunities that we have. Now, are we going to continue to look to those dickheads for solutions? Absolutely not. I don't think that's what they're there for. I see them just as our parents, and the way that they raised us is so juxtaposed from how we are now, or the trauma that you got in some degree as a kid or something is so motivating and fuel for you now in the same way. Now, unarguably, not a fan of how we learn things, how the realm works, how we're given information, our ability to take information, how it's all, we got to figure it out. But that's how this place works. And it seems, though, more than ever, that the things are getting so silly out there, and have been for a long time. It's just, they're getting so fucking silly as to show you, why you guys keep looking to us for solutions, and why are you even still talking about us? Like, Why are you not forming communities and saying, fuck these assholes and going and doing your own thing? Because we're right here. We're doing this. This is solutions based. Paul feels way better than he did when we first started. We all do, by the way. Because helping others, there's no resistance in it. You know, it's the resistance when you're staring at the resistance going, oh, there's so much resistance. Yeah. You bitch at a wave. I mean, it's just a wave. But you can learn how to surf. And that's what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Yes, it's a turbulent water world that sucks fucking cocks and dicks. But you don't have to you don't have to drown. You know what I mean? We can all help each other. I love you guys so much.
We're stuck with it, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, and Ben nailed it. Yeah, and Gabe, you nailed it. We are stuck with it, but do we need to, like, I say we learn how to surf, but with our dicks out. You know, we like piss and shit off the board, and like we, you know, just do our own thing, listen to our own music, draw on our boards however we want, decorate them, and that's the thing, right? And I think again, this is to motivate all of us. You know, I mentioned it the other day on something. Oh my, you know, this lizard turd show goes behind a curtain and then they pop back out, as Ben says, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. They pop back out and he's like, okay, guys, check it out. Whenever I go back out there this time, I'm really going to let my mask show. We're even going to be in a completely fake White House office, and it's going to show trucks outside. The wallpaper is going to be totally different. They're going to tear this apart. They're finally going to figure out we're fake, and then they're going to overthrow this place and go do their own thing. And instead, accounts dedicate their lives to going, look how fucking bunch of full shit this is, and look at all this. And yes, it's there, right? I got it. But I mean, how long are you going to just stare at the beach on the whale on the beach instead of just rolling it back in the water? Like let's do something, you know? And so this is where we reach the solutions-based part of this narrative, right? It's because, yes, we all have realized we've been alchemized in this fucking crazy-ass fire. We're still here. So congratulations, gang. You've made it to this level 2025. Let's go. It's like Hunger Games. And Paul's right. Astrologically, actually, nobody's arguing with the this is tits up time, gang. So it's never been more important for y'all to go, oh, that's trying to get my attention, and I'm just going to not offer it that, you know? And I'm going to do something else instead. I'm going to call Paul, and he and I are going to come up with some cool creative solutions. And they're going to get with Kurt, because he wants to do the album art for Paul's next artwork, you know? Kurt's doing 2 book covers for us right now, and they're exceptional. So it's just all this, guys. You know, this is where this lies, not in the nonsense deep state. Yes, it's there, but it's so that we can say no thank you. That's what I really think it's for, man.
Brandon, I think part of the no thank you, like I think about your podcast, and the reason I started to like it was a rest from the other world. So your podcast talks about fifth dimensional beings, it talks about the pyramids, it talks about the aliens, it talks about energies and frequencies. And when I listen to a podcast, it's a rest from the deep state, from the politics of everything that's happening in this dimension. And I'm hoping I can be part of that with music, but that's what I love with your podcast. It's a rest from the bullshit of this fucked up reality. And I think it's valuable to take a rest. And when I listen to your podcast, I can escape and think, wow, there's fifth dimensional beings and there's aliens and all this stuff. And it's like a meditative break from the shit show of the everyday life.
Yeah. It could be a big enough shit show without it being scary, you know?
Yeah.
It could be a fun house rather than a scary house. And Mary and I talked about this because that's how Sam Tripoli described it. He goes, man, this place is like a haunted house. And I don't deny it in the way that things are here to scare you. And this is what gets back to it's not about the thing, it's about the way the thing makes you feel, right? Because a guy in a haunted house, right, he doesn't have a blade on that chainsaw, but it's loud and scary, man. But and you paid to go do that, by the way. And so this is the analogy here. But how do you switch it from haunted house to fun house? Right. And this is the alchemy part here to where, look, yeah, the guy's got a fucking chainsaw, but, he's silly. He's got like his flies open. He didn't even put his costume on right. It's a goofy, like, what? Bulging eyes. Why would you choose that? And so it's silly. You make fun of it. Right. You carry a fart machine around with you. You start to troll this place and make it your fun house rather than being terrified by everything. That's honestly the alchemy. Now, again, simple, not easy, very much so. But that seems to be the trick. Right.
Can I comment on this?
Adam, get some, dude. With your green.
And normally I try to go dark. I'm going to try to bring some levity to this one.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say dark, real. And especially for a group like this of artists, musicians, authors, creative people. I just went to an event last night where the discussion was based on your inner child and how it relates to psychedelics. And we had a 2-hour conversation where, a bunch of grown adults was just talking about the importance of connecting with that inner child. And I think this is really important for a few reasons along this subject, where, one great thing about little kids is that they have that bullshit filter where, they're still connected to that original source or that original whatever, infinite intelligence, so to speak. And they're approaching things with a creativity, with, being willing to laugh and dance and joke around. And I think with all of the bullshit in society that we're all talking about, it does just glob on all this plaque and this nastiness. And it's so easy to get weighted down and to get beaten up where, one of the things that came out of my kind of restructuring of my life and just a change of perception is every day I walk around like with this fuck you attitude, laughing, joking, still being real to what's going on, but just that sense of taking it all back and approaching it with a sense of how you see it. And it's really important, especially with this group of creative people, to make sure we don't lose that innocence, lose that connection, and really harness that part of ourselves to say fuck you to whatever is crushes most adults.
Yeah. And to let each other know that, yes, it sucks and it can suck and let's cry, I mean, fucking cry about it, dude. Throw shit around, man. I go out there in the labyrinth and just throw heavy sticks, like constantly. I'm just like, man, fuck you. And just yell, man, like get it out, and it's okay. We can be vulnerable like that, It's a fucked up time, man. It really is. It really, and astrologically, I mean, it's saying this is why, the Lana Del Rey-ness of this fucking place right now is just getting us all, dude. We're all caught in this ridiculous brown note wave, whatever. We're all shitting ourselves.
Yeah, but it is okay. It's a time to purge and get all that shit out, all that poison out, and then realize how do you use and manipulate that energy to your advantage.
Flip it, yeah. Flip the friggin' polarity on the charge. Transmute it.
Right. I like that you just used Lana Del Rey as an adjective.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. It's the first, I think.
I think there was a porn that they used it like that too.
I love it. Lana Del Rey that shit. Hugh, what do you think of all this, man? Tell me where you're at again. I apologize if I missed it from the beginning there.
Yeah, I'm out in Arizona.
Arizona.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think that ultimately we're here to have an experience, and I believe that if you were God, you would be bored, like being able to, do anything you wanted to. So you're having this experience to experience something different, experience something that's not being all and being able to do everything. So I that's the way I kind of embrace it. Yeah.
There you go. Beautiful. Ben's had some interesting experiences going on lately. Ben, what have you been up to, bud? I'd love if he was taking a shit.
I'm silent.
Like, oh, I'm taking a shit.
Nothing. Let me wipe my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove over 1,000 miles in less than 24 hours just the other day, day before. I don't know. I quit keeping track of time after that. It was interesting. I had a couple of moments on the drive that the reception was crystal clear, and you guys have been kind of hitting it on the head that it came in like, that it's all ghosts and it's all gods, and they're going to put on the mask as long as you're wearing one. So yeah, like it is all the perception that you give to it, right? So if you perceive it as a problem, it'll show up as a problem, and if you just start looking for the solution, one normally appears.
Wise words from our traveler. Gabe, what do you think of all this, dude?
Do I have a time limit?
No, man, go for it. I do want to point out that it's perfectly cut your camera angle there where it reads poo in the background.
Yeah, that's I figured.
Is it on purpose?
Yeah. That was well, Sharon and I when we lived in Hollywood at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, there was a strip club, and on the roof there, one day just waiting for a bus, I saw that. I just on the roof there, and I was, oh my god, that's the most amazing thing ever. I called Sharon, like, you got to get up here, bring the camera over, because I thought it was, you know, a prank and that someone was going to take it down. But what it actually ended up lasting for several months before someone took it down. But what I figured out after the fact was that it used to be a sign that said something Hollywood on it, and all but the last 3 letters fell off, and it got turned upside down. So that P is actually an upside down D. Yeah. And I guess some worker on the roof was just having a good time with that. And Sharon took a photo of it, and then she ended up making that painting herself, which
she painted that. That's a painting.
Yeah, she painted that.
Damn.
She's actually a very good painter. We have a few paintings from her around in our little house, but no, it's been kind of weird. In case people don't know, we're about an hour north of Los Angeles in the mountains. It's actually snowing quite heavily at the moment, but it was very, very weird to see just the wind pick up, which it does in LA. It's called the Santa Ana winds. It happens all the time. It happened all the time in my youth. But now all of a sudden, a whole bunch of arsonists just come out of the woodwork. And it was just like one after another after another. We didn't get any of the smoke where we were. We're very far north of it all. But just I still have a couple friends in LA. And it was just it was absolutely nuts. That I'm not going to speculate on whether it was energy weapons or not. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. What I do know is that up here, the U.S. Forest Service they're basically the U.S. Arson Service. They deliberately set fires, and they call them controlled burns. And once in a while, they get out of control. I think it happened in New Mexico, like maybe 3 years ago or something, where something got out of control, torched a whole bunch of buildings and property. A bunch of people lost their lives, and they're getting sued now, which of course is going to take years for that to yield any fruit. But it was just nuts. That's part of why this month is, like I was talking about, it's just been totally off. Is that just seeing? I mean, Pacific Palisades is a very, very affluent neighborhood, and you know, I don't want to like shit on anyone, no matter what, because you know, losing your house is not good. That sucks for anyone, no matter who you are. But what I do know is that there are a lot of evil people in that area, and you know, I'm just saying, you know, take that for what it's worth. That, you know, I'm not going to speculate on the cause, but I do know that these fires were obviously set by someone. Winds don't cause fires, and that was part of the ridiculousness of it. Is just like the media is literally trying to convince people now that fires can just start out of nothing. And you know, I never did very well in science when I was a kid, but I can see through that one.
They just start, man. That light come down from the sky, man. They just start right up, burn up everything but the trees. It's pretty cool.
You know, I got friends out there too. Sean does, Brandon does. Our buddy Doug, he lives out there. He literally lives like maybe 2 or 3 miles from the Palisades.
Doug Pennick.
His neighborhood's totally fine. You know, like no big deal, but they get all the same winds, they get all the same crazy stuff, but nothing happened to it. But then when you go and you look at what happened to the Palisades, it's like, oh, we're gonna destroy every single fucking house, like, and you know, business or whatever, gone by. Oh, but the neighborhood over's fine. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a tornado here in Texas. You get a tornado here in Texas, and it just picks and chooses which one it wants to remove.
Fuck you. You're good. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Oh, wait. Yeah, you're all right. Cool. Fuck this guy, too.
God's hilarious. Yeah.
It's weird, though. It's weird. I mean, it sucks because I have other friends who lost their houses there, too. And, you know, I don't understand. I guess, again, maybe I didn't do very good in science either. I don't understand it. There's like one house in the middle of all of the Palisades that survived. Everything else burnt.
Gabe, something interesting, if you guys are clued to this, is the smart meters. They noticed that there was one house that was residing out of their entire street that was burned to the ground. And the only difference in that one house, the main structure, was they had an analog meter. They refused the smart meter. Now, this exact same structure, though, did allegedly have a detached garage that had a smart meter that burned to the fucking ground. So there's something also to the smart meter thing. And you can actually, allegedly here, guys, request that your electric company put one back on. They may charge you a small fee or something like that annually, but we recommend that you probably go that route and just maybe paint everything blue. Who knows? But what do you guys think of that? Gabe, have you heard about this? The smart meter thing, and like these houses that were, some of them were the ones that did not have a smart meter to them.
I hadn't, but on a larger scope, what Sharon and I were thinking about is the thousands and thousands of cell phones, Wi-Fi routers, security systems, smart appliances, smart meter, all of these DOR generators, and y'all can come to our website and find out about Wilhelm Reich's work and the whole OR DOR thing. We got to get back on your show, Brandon, and
love
talk
to.
about
We're gonna get you booked.
stuff.
I got that CDT stuff we got to talk about. But guys, for the chat here, his website, thekembo.com, is linked in the chat.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah. We both. The Sharon says hi. By the way, we both cannot wait to get back on.
Thank you so much. Love you guys.
But yeah, we actually did a couple podcasts about this within the past couple weeks about this thing specifically. Is that with all of those EMF emitters, all those DOR generators, just all basically gone, just like wiped out in an instant. Like, thinking about what that would do energetically for things, and then the winds kicked up really crazy, and now we're getting like we're up here, we're scheduled to get like a foot of snow. Like a few inches have already fallen, but it's just very interesting to see the weather pattern just flip so suddenly like that. And but no, I hadn't heard of the whole smart meter thing, but
I think
that certainly wouldn't surprise me. I mean, what we do know from our work is that the meters themselves are actually on the lower end of things in terms of like how much EMF is generated. The Wi-Fi's and cell phones are way worse.
Well, but if the
but considering that all these homes have the same thing, and especially the security systems. I mean, I know that the security systems are huge generators.
And all of that, right? And this is part of Project Bluebeam. Tom, I'll get to you a sec. This is part of Project Bluebeam. Allegedly, your appliances would talk to you and do this sky to skull technology. It would beam your blender or whatever was connected to Wi-Fi, your fridge that you have that cool screen on that your kids like to watch, cartoons on in the morning or whatever. It's going to talk to your mind and tell you to kill your whole family. It's wild, the scope of just this manipulation. But I'm thinking on the smart meters, it would be just as simple to just tell the sky laser, hey, shoot points down where these are. And basically your smart meters are pins being dropped that just go, got it, laser here, got it. And so you wouldn't laser the trees or anything because they're not attached to smart meters. You wouldn't laser that house because it's got an analog meter. The laser beam doesn't read it, right? It's like setting up a beacon to say, all right, blast this whole fucking shit because we got to set up the 15-minute city here, right? Maybe. I don't know. It makes sense to me that happened and why like the blue shit didn't burn even if the house did have a smart meter. Umbrella's still plastic shit, blue doesn't burn, laser, it's in the blue spectrum, so it won't reflects itself back. It's really interesting.
Well, I worry about what impact that has on the psychology of everyone in the country as well, though, because they're looking at their government saying, well, if they can do that to them, what's happening to us next?
Yeah, the idea there is to get together, guys, on the weekends. We could start a little club here if you'd like, and we start building guillotines, okay? And we commission our local town here, just run for whatever you wanted, to commission an art piece. And they're going to go, sure. And we put that bitch up right there and lube it every day and proudly stare at it and practice with it right there. And, maybe that'll be enough. But you see quite a dozen of these things roll out. It doesn't matter how many lasers they have in the sky if they don't have heads to push the buttons with, right? So I think it may be something like that, Paul. The stars tell us right now it's American Revolution, all of those things. This is what time it is in the sky for us. But Tom, you were going to say something, buddy. What was that?
Oh, I think you may have heard the same breakdown I heard where they kind of act as a receiver for microwave energy. But I also think that like the Lebanese pagers exploding was kind
Oh
of
yeah, that was
news and all
fucked,
that.
right?
It's sort of
Ugh.
like more psychological warfare than it is actually physical because then
Right.
you paranoid. And then I buy all this stuff made from China and Amazon. Like, what
Dude,
are they putting in there?
no shit.
That's a good band
Yeah.
name, Lebanese Pagers.
That is a great band name, Lebanese Pagers. Oh, because yeah, it's a mind fuck. You're like, wait a minute, they can put little bombs in what? And there was that TED Talk looking thing. It was a movie or a TV show or something. I don't know. I just saw the clip of it, but it was this guy talking about that they had these tiny little drones that were small, and they were tiny little like like the drones you see flying around. They're real big now, but they had these tiny little ones with a single charge in it, and they could just zip this thing through and then just go tap and they just tag you and you're out, dude. You know what I mean? It just sends that little, and now you can picture a swarm of these things. Is what the guy was
Dude,
I
gushing
think
about.
they have those.
the drones,
Absolutely,
like
absolutely.
like, have you
Fuck
seen the
yeah.
Chinese drones where it's like
Oh, they synchronize, they make
30,000
it
of them
drag-
doing the weird?
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
To go super
Matt, you put a little
tinfoil
bomb
with
on that?
super tinfoil with your Lebanese pager thing, like, and maybe I'm mistaken here, but I heard uh you can do that like frequently, like send a vibration to a battery and get it to pretty much blow up. Like, so if
Oh,
it
that would
wasn't
make
like,
sense.
so if it wasn't, they're just regular generic ass pagers, and then they fucked with all these folks by just like setting that signal so they blew up. I think.
I heard someone that is part of the project on being interviewed, and they were proud of it, and they were talking about how they had to keep the supplier in the dark about it, and they had to like do it so many years in advance, and
Oh my God.
it sounded very elaborate.
Yeah, but it would need to, right? Because you don't want you don't want to let your people know, and I'm going to share something right here. You don't want to let your people know that you have this ADS system. Have you guys seen this? These ADS, yeah, ADS sound systems. So they rolled these back out in the 90s, I want to say, and this is a crowd deterrent system that will actually fire pain
Jesus.
without injury, they say. Yeah, look at this fucking diagram right here. And they have videos of people standing in front of these fucking things getting zapped with it, and they all freak out. It basically, it's like a microwave. It heats you up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit in like 2 seconds. Boom.
Jesus.
How you doing?
Cook
You're hot
show.
as shit. The Human Torch, dude. Think about doing this
The
in a crowd
fuck?
and there's pregnant people or animals or babies or
Or just
something like that.
any other
Human.
thing.
Biological
you know?
life.
Yeah. Like,
Fuck
oh,
with
What
you
sort
your
of
know,
head,
twisted
right? Oh, look,
person
here's
would
a
build this
portable one.
technology?
That's good. So
Who would
there's
build
portable
this shit?
ones.
What's wrong with people?
I mean, come on, who wouldn't?
They're
right?
not
If you're-
people.
Look at this
They're
shit.
not people.
How about this? Hell yeah, man! Let's fucking Bayard ass. I'm gonna play me some fucking Ja Rule on
What the
that.
fuck? Jesus.
So science
Try something out of
says.
Iron Man.
Science says, get fucked, mate. Get fucking
well,
fucked,
you said
mate.
you guys seen that
Fuck you
video?
guys.
You seen that guy? You know, like he's from Houston, of course, and he's like, "Check out my base," and then all the windows literally
Yeah.
just break.
Yeah, I've seen them break, but I've also seen them turn into waves. Have you guys seen this?
Yes, yeah.
I've seen the one you were
Yes.
showing, the portable one, in person, and
Brian, that sounds a bit Spinal Tap.
Ah! All right, who made the first Black Album, Metallica representatives?
Look at that shit.
Well,
That's bass,
ours
dude.
is more black.
Yeah, ours is more black. It was. Dude, look at that window.
Yeah. Look at this fucking fella.
Oh.
Look at the trust in this fucking person right here.
Jesus.
I
He's
mean,
rocking
This is
it
just
out.
something you can do at Circuit City. You
That's
know
a
what I mean?
nice.
Circuit City.
Remember Circuit
How much
City,
fun
dude?
would
You get the amp. You go to Best Buy, you get your amp and your fucking face, and you could detach the face, you put it in your backpack. Anyway,
I was
just remember
some
when,
good
like-
product placement for Nike there.
yeah,
yeah.
we do our best, buddy. You know, but this shit too. I mean, it's like, oh, get fucked.
You
Okay,
remember when
guys, we're
Howard
gonna watch-
Stern had
Coors
like
Light
I don't
commercial
know
real
some
quick.
chick on, and he was like, just sit on the speaker, and he was like,
Yeah, I remember that. That was great.
No,
Same
so
effect.
good. Same
Papa
effect.
Booey.
See, and you
You were
gotta
talking about
tape the
the-
shirt.
I was
God,
saying you
that's
were talking
sound,
about
gang.
the
Yeah,
LRAD. The
Hey,
LRAD
pause it there.
technology.
Pause it there. You see the cell phone tower right there,
Oh yeah,
and the reflection in the window. Yep, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
beautiful. What were you saying, Sean?
That you got to
You're
gift
talking
it.
about the LRAD technology where they can, they're shooting sound waves as it's like a military weapon.
Right.
You know, from the 90s, right?
Yeah,
And
ADS.
that stuff we know about. Think about the stuff that you don't know about. Like that's
100%, Sean.
You know.
Yeah, but then what's the answer to this then? Again, I think a couple guillotines, would do it.
Well, I was gonna chime in with the drone thing, but I can tie it in. If they have stuff like this, like, and
Sonic weapons for sale, guys.
every military in the world agrees that there's like certain areas of the ocean that they don't want to go in, and or if they lose ships, not to worry about it. Like, maybe some of the stuff is like not us also at the same time.
Of the realm. It's the lizard turds in suits walking around going, "Oh, I know what to use on them."
Hey, let's talk about the realm real quick. I got to drop this in here for at least my American friends. This something just blew my mind yesterday. I had a friend call me and he said, "Hey, you remember Ed McMahon doing the publisher clearinghouse stuff?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "That never happened." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So I Googled it immediately and everything was like, "Yeah, it never happened." But my entire life, I remember watching Ed McMahon walk up with a big check to somebody's house and be like, "You just won $4 million." But apparently, Mandela effect, we've shifted into a different reality. And like, all the other crap like Chick-fil-A, all the other shit like Chick-fil-A or the Fruit of the Loom, that's like, okay, maybe my memory is a little fucked up. But I fucking remember Ed McMahon fucking showing up. And my buddy started, he said, "Hey, I got a new grill recently." And he said, "Hey man, how did your new grill work out?" And I started talking. He goes, "Oh wait, hold on. I want to start this by saying you don't exist. I don't exist. This isn't real." And then like stopped me in my tracks. I was like, "Well, okay, let's talk about you, bud." And that's when he brought this up to me. And I started looking into it yesterday. And I was like, I something's fucky.
Is this your first go with the Mandela effect?
No, not me.
Okay.
I've got Mandela effect all day long. I've been doing it forever, but I've never seen the Ed McMahon thing.
What is that, Ryan? Sorry. What happened?
My dad would fall for this scam. They would offer, I think it was magazine subscriptions.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And you'd be put in a lottery, and they'd always show a video of the camera crew coming to someone's door, like, "Oh, I'm a winner."
Right.
It was
yeah. You gotta buy magazines, or you gotta buy whatever, and then somebody shows up to your door. And I always thought my whole life, I was born in 1983, so my whole life I was like, "Oh, cool! Like I can't wait for somebody to show up to my door with a check."
Yeah.
And Ed McMahon, and there it is.
Yeah. You show up, the people would just be flipped out that the publisher's clearing the house where dreams come true. Yeah, I remember that too.
That was awesome.
While I
remember Mandela.
I was eating my Jiffy peanut butter.
Ed McMahon-Della. That would have been more fun if they would have called it that. I wish this would have been the first one that we discovered. Ed McMahon-Della.
I had just never gone down this path, and my buddy was like, "Yeah, fuck your new grill. Like none of us exist."
Well, he also made fun of it on other shows. So this is the thing, is like he also like parodied himself giving these checks away and allegedly never worked there. So was this just a surprise to him when Leno was like, "Hey, will you come give this bitch a big check?" He's like, "Okay."
I remember in the 90s, hearing about Mandela getting out of prison, and I'm like, dude, he died.
He died.
Yeah. Evan, thank you, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
That was
That's
my
where the term.
You gone down this
that's
rabbit
where the
hole?
term originated.
There was like a Supreme Court justice that died, and I thought they'd already died like a couple of years before. I'm like,
well, it's like there's a weird stuff like Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia. Yeah. Or Chick-fil-A spelled a different way. Like,
well, they spell it dumb now. Like you'd spell it with the C. It's dumb. Kit Kat, no dash in between it. Anybody give the correct answer on this? Did Fruit of the Loom ever have a cornucopia? Yes or no?
Yes.
I don't remember that. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys get these undies over there? Fruit of the Loom?
No.
Okay. What did you guys have? Because these were our underoos, man. This is what Batman came on, all the cool shit, dinosaurs and shit.
They don't wear underwear.
Thundercats.
Oh. The thunder from down under cats. Nice. All right.
Dude.
Anyway, allegedly, this brand in the U.S. Never had a cornucopia, and people have gone back through the logos historically and proven that. We're just not gonna stare at too many people's junk here.
I mean, I'm cool with it.
There's have you guys seen the Sphinx? No, it's not the Sphinx. What's that bust?
Oh man, I gotta say something interesting about
Go ahead.
about the Sphinx, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been listening to interviews with Chris Bledsoe, the author who wrote UFO of God.
Dude, thank you for
And
turning me on to that, Sean, by the way. That's a great book.
yeah, it's incredible. But yeah, he just did an interview a couple days ago too, talking about well, there's this guy Robert Grant who has found inscriptions inside of the Great Pyramid, which this is like the first. Apparently, I think the first ones he found were in 2018, but he's found the Alpha and Omega are inscribed on the sarcophagus. They're also on the wall. There's a bull with stars in it. There's a woman shooting an arrow, riding a Pegasus that's shooting an eagle. All this stuff ties into constellate, like old zodiac stuff. But he was like this guy Robert Grant was like searching for some ruby or something to put in between the paw of the Sphinx, to maybe unlock, like Edward Casey was talking about, there's some hidden library under the Sphinx or some knowledge that's hidden under there. And Chris Bledsoe has said that through this goddess that has come to him, and basically there's going to be an alignment that's supposed to happen, I think, next year, where the star Regulus will line up with the gaze of the Sphinx, and then that is supposed to be some knowledge getting unlocked, or maybe it marks our civilization turning, like maybe getting out of the shit show that we're seeing right now.
Be cool.
And yeah, like fingers crossed, right? But I don't know. Yeah, there's just so much I've seen. He mentioned every single astronaut that's been up in space. These orbs fly up to them, smile at them with these angelic faces. He calls UFOs angels. He's like, these are angels. Like the stories in the Bible that they were talking about, they were seeing these orbs. And yeah, maybe like they're having all these drone sightings now to try to muddy the water. But it's really inspirational stuff. I don't know if any of you all have heard of CE5, where it's like meditation, and you ask for UFOs to appear, and it will happen. I've seen it happen numerous times. I've seen it happen with huge groups of people. But again, like Chris Bledsoe is saying, it's not about this protocol. It's he's like, if you want to see something like that, you can just pray and be out under the night sky, and maybe it won't happen the first time you do it, or maybe it will. But yeah, sure enough, I have tried it before, and I have seen numerous orbs or UFOs appear, and it's incredible. Like it's like awe-inspiring. Just I know that probably sounds pretty crazy to a lot of people, but when you see it, if you see something like that, there's no doubt. And yeah, like I don't even care. Like I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I just find the subject absolutely fascinating. And one thing about it that gives me hope is there's documented proof of these UFOs going and deactivating nuclear bombs.
Yeah, heard of that, Sean.
So obviously they're peaceful, and whatever our government is going to try to spin as make it fear-based is bullshit. Like don't be fearful. Just like stay positive. There's some kind of higher intelligence, whether you want to call them angels or whatever, that if Israel and Iran do start sending a bunch of nukes at each other, they're going to deactivate them. I hope. Anyways, I pray that happens. But again, like hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully people can wise up, and these idiots that are in control can start using their brain in a good way. It's like I'm thinking, you can't lose hope yet. But
Dude, UFO of God, first of all, Sean, again, going back to it, thank you so much, because I listened to it on Audible twice now. It's fucking amazing. And
it's the
I've
best
tried to
book I've ever read.
dude, it's so good. And I've gone outside and I've done the thing where I tried to, like, look up at the sky and say I'm here, and I got a bad back and my neck hurts, so looking at the sky kind of sucks. So I haven't given it much of a try, but I have seen orbs 2 times in my entire life. One was in 1997 and another was in 2012. And the 2012 one was this fucking just mind blowing. I'm an adult. Weird stuff was happening in the middle of the desert. Anyway, but they were orbs and I could never actually see what they were. And I couldn't say it was a craft. I couldn't say it was, I don't know. I don't know. It was just lights, and they did weird things. And I can go into that story, and I've done it before. But like when I was reading, or I guess I wasn't reading, when I was listening to that book, and he talks about the orbs having personality, having like being a thing. I was like, that in 2012. The 1997 one was weird. It was just a big ball of light. But the 2012 thing that happened to me was these things playing with my fucking mind, kind of. And I don't know what the fuck it was. I thought it was like drones, maybe, because drones had just come out or something. But everything that Chris describes in that book is exactly how that shit happened to me. And when I was listening to it, I was like, I don't know. I felt better about it, because when you describe stuff, when you've seen stuff like that and you describe it to people, everybody looks at you like you're fucking retarded. And so
Dude,
then now there's a book that says all the same stuff that, like, not all I mean, I didn't see like the fiery stuff in the beginning of the book. I didn't see that stuff, but like the way the orbs work with you personally, I was like, holy fucking shit, that's what I saw, And so it's, anyway, I just wanted to.
I have pictures of them. I mean, I don't know if we're talking about the same orbs, and I didn't go through a protocol of calling them, but a friend of the family mentioned that, oh yeah, they show up all the time around the house. I'm like, well, can I come over and take pictures? They're like, yeah, of course. And it would only work if I had like a flash in a very directional, like just dead on manner. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they don't like to be captured.
Well, if you ask, right?
Right.
I think that maybe it might be dependent on the situation or the person, but like, okay, Chris Bledsoe, for instance, you can pull up his Instagram. He probably just posted a video recently where he'll have video footage of it. But yeah, I mean, anyone could dismiss that. I don't know, like, I think you can get video footage of it, but again, I don't think that's necessarily the point of it. I think part of it is you have more sightings if you're like working on self-improvement.
Well,
If you're genuinely like trying to be like the best person that you can be, then seeing these things is kind of like a side effect.
Thank you, Sean.
well, I was just gonna say I space with the point I was gonna make about it, but connecting to seeing them, like I gratefully see them pretty often. Oh yeah, I remember now. If it's conscious plasma, just say that that's a thing out there somewhere in the universe. There's different. We'll just say one flavor of conscious plasma, and it was operating like time crystal level interaction, where superposition of whatever state it wants, and it could come down here to all of us and appear to as whatever we want, or whatever it wanted, like whatever was most friendly to us. Like I would suggest that that's probably one one way that it comes here first. And then also I agree to you. Like I've seen them my whole life, gratefully again, but like the more I've gotten into meditation and like messing around with like what's up with what we're talking about here, like gratefully it seems like the more they pop out and say howdy, like different flavors like triangle, cigar, or all the different, I don't know what, but like the full gamut.
Yeah,
When you talked
definitely.
before about being in a frequency to receive it, I've got a very close friend of mine who's she's off out of this world, like she can see fifth dimensional beings and talks to gods, and she's off the charts. And I've been with her many times at a beach where I live, and there's a portal that opens up every full moon. And when I first met her, we used to go down there and meditate, and she would look up at the sky and say, "Can you see that portal opening?" And I'd say, "No." And then she would take photos of them later. And she took the photos while I was there looking at her taking the photos, and I couldn't see it with my naked eye. And then when she sent me the photos, they were in the photos, and I thought, this is fucking insane. So I'm not as evolved in her, like in that space. So I guess that's probably why I can't see it with my naked eye. But I'm curious to why cameras can catch things.
Well,
I don't know if anyone can talk
I'm
to that.
experienced enough to know lens flare, moisture in the air, and something looking out of focus in a certain way.
Yeah.
This did not fit the bill. Like it was definitely something else. I dropped 4 of my pictures in the chat.
Oh,
Thank
sweet.
you.
Check them out. You know,
But
the
yeah,
thing,
like I was
go
just
ahead,
gonna
Sean.
say, like the deep, you were mentioning the deep state earlier. Like all the alphabet agencies are studying the Bledsoe family like crazy
Oh,
because
yeah.
this guy sees them all the time, like constantly, and
And he can, but the
100
thing
100 a
about that
day or
book is like,
something.
he's
Like,
like, he can tell when they show up. Like he'll be inside his house or whatever. And he's like, oh, hey, let's go outside. And they go outside and they look up and, oh shit, there they are.
or he'll know 24 hours in advance. Like for if news crews are coming, he'll be like, okay, Thursday at 6 o'clock. Have your cameras ready. It's going to be from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and then this guy just fills up with UFOs, and they
Where
get it on film.
where
I
I
don't
was
know how
going.
he's in tune with it, but I think maybe he's living a more pure life or something. Maybe he's just like a really genuinely good person or
Well,
something. I don't
he
know.
had a hard,
I'm
man. If you
struggling
read
to
that book, he
understand
had
it.
a really hard life, right? Like he had Crohn's disease or something like that. And like he,
On top of if that's like his natural thing is like to be like a radar antenna, like maybe your thing is like whatever talking to portals, then like
Mm.
his thing is like antenna for orbs, and then Paul's thing is music or whatever. Like it could be all naturally built in stats, like spiked in one area, is my
yeah,
guess.
absolutely. Like I swear to God, like the 2 times I've seen stuff, like I would, in the 1997 one, I was like, okay, I just watched Men in Black that just came out. Like, like, all right, maybe this is my mind messing with me. But the 2012 one, where the orbs did weird things. They were out in the desert. Every time I tried to stop to take a photo, they were flying off in one direction. And then when I stopped my car, I was like, oh, I'm taking a photo of this. They started coming towards me and it freaked me out. I was like, oh, I've seen this movie. I'm driving, I started, I don't, and they did, the story's long and weird, but I really feel like when I read UFO of God, it connected to me so much because it made me not feel fucking retarded, or not feel crazy. Like, because it's a hard subject to talk about. You don't necessarily go to work and be like, hey man, so I saw a bunch of orbs the other day.
Not everyone.
You know?
Yeah, it's not that common yet.
Right.
I
But
guess
like,
maybe it's
I know what
becoming
I
more common.
saw and
Yeah.
I haven't seen any since. And I've been doing the thing that Chris talks about in his book and like going outside and trying to look up to the sky, but my neck hurts. So
Get
I
a
don't,
comfortable chair, man. Get a chair that reclines back, and you get
and
yeah,
just hang
like
out. Right.
you just lay down. Like even I'll just lay down and stare up at the sky or
I
whatever.
want, I want it. I want it because I've seen it, and the times you've seen it, it's like the times I've seen other stuff. Sean, because we've known each other for years. But like when you've seen something, I mean, you know. That's
You can't unsee it. Yeah.
I wonder where Brandon was going. He mentioned the Sphinx, and I just like we
Had to step
went down
out. It's okay.
this huge
I'm
bunny, this huge bunny trail. What were you saying about the Sphinx?
I'm still
man?
interested in seeing something cool. I have not. The motherfuckers
Brandon,
don't
do
want
you
to talk
get
to me.
abducted? Is that why you were out?
Not that I'm
No?
consciously aware of it. No.
Okay.
No, never. But
I'll
I
take your
don't
word for
dream either, or am aware that I dream ever. So I could be. I don't know. I like to think that I'm just an intergalactic space pilot that's just kicking ass, and I have to regress my memory each night because there's classified information up there that would ruin the game. And I wear that badge honorably. I was going to, and so I will now, continue about Mandela effect. So you guys interested in talking about that anymore? That's where we're going. Okay.
Dude, I mean, I
Dope
like I
work
said,
talk,
my
though.
whole
It's crazy shit.
brain changed yesterday when they were like, Ed McMahon.
One of my
I
favorite
remember
things. Go
you
ahead.
did a talk on it before. You did a bunch
Oh,
of
I love it.
Mandela.
We did it the
I
other
feel like
day
I
with Larry.
I feel like I kept shooting all of them down, and you were probably getting a little irritated with me.
Never, brother. Never. No. I'm a
But it
seed
was
planter.
like you mentioned one, and I'd be like, "Nah, I remember it this way."
Yeah.
And you're like,
You're
"Oh."
like, nope, get fucked.
Yeah,
Totally
but like
cool.
what the fun part about
I
the
don't want
Mandela
everybody to
effect
agree
is
with
like if like reality shifted and 50% of us remember it one way and 50% of us remember it a different way, then like let's say Sean could shoot it down because he remembers it that way, but we don't.
But what did us talking about it do for you, Sean? Did it make you question things a little bit, or have you since noticed a couple?
No, man. I mean, to be fair, like the part about Nelson Mandela dying, I thought, okay, I mean, I was very young when that would have happened or whatever, but I thought that happened too. Yeah, and then the same thing, like then he gets released from jail, and same thing. I was like, wait, I thought he was dead. Yeah, like I swear, I thought I remember seeing that but yeah, so that's one I could agree with, but I mean, our memories are fucking shit anyways. And then if you're going back decades or whatever, I mean, the water can get really muddy. But
I'll agree with you.
That's
like,
true. Like all the cops, when the cop asks witnesses what happened, yeah, like it's the videotape that's over here records something completely different than what the witnesses are saying that happened. So I mean, yeah, humans are not good at recalling things.
And lately, you can't trust the tape now, but and who knows how long you couldn't have trusted the tape, right?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you can't trust the tape now at all, man. Have you seen these Instagram models? They're not even real.
So on the Mandela effect, there was this one. Do you guys remember King Tut's bust? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? King Tut?
Yep.
Okay. What did it have on the bust? Somebody describe, actually more specifically, its head. What do you guys remember right there? The Pharaoh King Tut, the gold thing. It was on textbooks when we were a kid.
Yeah, it was on textbooks,
something on the
magazines,
head.
everything.
What was it?
It would have been a snake.
The snake and the bird.
Okay. Snake and a bird. Anybody else?
Snake. I remember. I don't know if I remember a snake on King Tut's head. I remember it on something.
Ramses. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
He had eyeliner. It was super awesome, and I always tried to emulate that when I was in the band.
Yeah.
Like Adam and the Ants.
This is the King Tut. Yeah. Gabe?
Kanye West.
You had Kanye West right here? He had E right here? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
He's everywhere.
So this is one that we did the other day with Larry Paul, the real Indiana Jones. This dude's fucking insane.
I'm halfway through that podcast.
Eyeliner.
Oh, he is so cool. And we did the hangout with him last Sunday, and it was fucking banger. But yes, absolutely the eyeliner here. But this is where actually this one got me. So I never remembered a vulture being here. I always just remembered the cobra or the snake.
And the cobra was like, if you remember it, it was in the middle.
Yes, it was
There was
dead
nothing
center.
else.
Yes.
And
Right.
what
Now I
throws
know.
me off, and we're going to get to memory in a second, Sean. What throws me off about this is symmetry. Chris Dunn has done a ton of work about the symmetry on the Giza Plateau. He has drawn the line on the Ramses statue and shown the proportions and how equal they are and all of that stuff on either side. Oh, thank you for drawing. Is that Evan? Thank you. Yeah, so this is, in my mind, unsymmetrical. Every single other thing about this is so pristine, precise, even down to the little cuffs on either side here. equidistant stripes on everything, the thickness of all of it, the way it cambers over. This looks silly to me, and it doesn't fit in my mind. And this is one
Yes,
that got me.
agreed.
This is a Mandela effect for me. Anybody else?
Yeah,
I never noticed that. Yeah, I've never seen that one before, but that I definitely don't remember there being two.
Is this the
things.
one that gets Sean? Did we just do it?
Maybe.
All right. Okay. Well,
Dude, I mean, I remember something in the middle, and the weird, like, I'm with you. Symmetry is a big deal to me. So
it was a big deal to them.
It would,
So
yeah,
it's
it would
interesting.
feel like I would have noticed that before.
Definitely. This seems like one of those things in like Star Trek Next Generation where they're trying to maintain a holodeck simulation for some primitive race, but it's like glitching in and out and it's not really holding up.
We've got the power to go into the dildos, Captain.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I mean, symmetry was everything to them. Everything had to be just so.
Yeah, and like I said, Chris Dunn did great work with this.
Number one, I already to go take a number two.
Is that? Yeah.
Number one,
this is
I
not
order
this
you
at
to
all.
go take a number
Okay,
two.
but there is something that I wanted to talk about
Captain.
here before I. There is something I want to talk about here before I forget, and it is about memory. Now, how many people? Okay, first and foremost, what is the line in Star Wars? Is it Luke, I am your father, or No, I am your father? Which one?
I mean,
Number one.
No.
Luke.
It should have been number one, but it's and in this reality, it's number two.
It's number two.
Anybody
Last
else?
time I watched
That's right.
What is it, Sean?
Last time I watched it, it's No, I Am Your Father. But yeah, that's one. Yeah, it's.
We get number
questionable.
2 for Sean. All right.
Yeah.
So now this is what strikes me about most of these Mandela effect type of a thing is this is not the movie. Okay, this is a Star Wars Happy Time quote from 1995's Tommy Boy, right?
Right.
The interesting
Great
part
movie.
about this, and we'll go ahead and play it here, is
La 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 Luke, I am your father.
so the whole point of that is to show you that even in a film, 95, well after the Star Wars had come out, there exists a movie called Tommy Boy. Now, how many people in this SNL feature, David Spade, Chris Farley, peak of their career, this is a banger, even though I think it's low budget, but still SNL produced, and all of the writers, all of everyone that came up with this, all the read-throughs, everything, but every single person at that table said,
Luke, I am your father.
They didn't have some fucking super nerd stand up and go, actually, it's No, I'm your father. This passed a shitload of people to get to final production. And this is what I find interesting about the Mandelas. It's the secondary confirmations. Animaniacs have done this with things where they'll confirm things from stuff that's like, hang on, but that was a Mandela. But in Animaniacs, they're recalling it the way I remember it now. Do I remember it because Animaniacs installed that in me and then I saw it later and connected the two and just overwrote it? Sure, fuck it, whatever, that's possible. But what I find interesting, again, is if you look at this passed a lot of people's hands and was shot multiple times. Do you think they got this in one take? No. And then it was from multiple angles. They repeated this over and over and over and over again, and yet it was not edited, it's not different, and here it is. Another one is Risky Business.
Does it also go with his with Chris Farley's character in that movie that he was like, you know, this party animal guy and he's like not getting the quote right because he's just like a, you know?
Sure. And I mean,
He's
you know,
all
yeah,
the-
he's it's Tommy,
like,
you know,
retarded.
it's fucking Chris Farley, let him go, you know? Let
a
him
little
go.
retarded.
Dude, Chris
We're not gonna rule
Farley's
it out,
death
Kurt.
picture.
Thank
Have you
you.
guys seen Chris Farley's
No,
death
I don't want
photo?
to. No,
Woof.
no.
Woof.
Because I can say retarded now.
Yeah, we can all.
Yes.
We never.
Yeah,
stopped.
we're allowed now.
I never fucking stopped. America. Okay, here's another one. Risky Business, 1983. Paul, have you ever seen this movie? Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, I have. I like it.
The dance scene here. Please describe what the man is wearing, if you don't mind, when he slides in there, from your memory.
I just white underpants and a shirt.
Yeah.
What color was the shirt?
Socks.
It was white from memory.
Okay. Sunglasses or no?
Sunglasses.
Okay. Okay. Well, here is the actual scene from Risky Business as it was and is today after this goddamn fucking piece of shit ad. Break up with Zillow. I'm trying to break up with all this. Please, somebody create a platform that we can just.
I'm gonna add you to my YouTube
Okay.
premium.
Right.
So
Good.
I
this
don't
is-
have to watch this
All
bullshit
right, there you
anymore.
go. So here it is. Here's the actual scene from this
Dun dun
reality.
dun 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 dun.
First of all, pink striped shirt, okay? Not white. Okay?
Yeah.
No sunglasses whatsoever. Look at this fucking dick.
Yeah.
So the thing is did they shoot 2 of these? You know, and Human Vibration and I had a conversation about all this too, is they could easily have just had 2 versions of things, shot it back then. Thank you, Evan. Shot it back then. That was on point with the fucking.
Yeah, that was pretty quick,
I
man.
let
I
him,
like
I
that.
think he figured out he could draw on it, and I was like, yeah. I didn't, and I love it. He's just crossing. She's like, fuck you. Anyway, this is what's weird about this, guys, too, because if you look up Halloween costumes parodying this, they all have white shirts and sunglasses, not pink striped shirts. It's all so people's memories are remembering and then dressing that way, and either nobody in their friend group saw the movie or everybody remembered it that way, or again, nobody wanted to be the super nerd and be like, actually. But what I find interesting again is when they're referenced in other places. And this King Tut one was fucking weird to me, dude. This
Brandon, with
fucking-
that Star Wars example, I know every line in the film. Like, so I'm a really big Star Wars geek, and I just wonder why I got that one line wrong. That's what I,
There's a lot
why
of
did
Star
I
Wars
get that
ones,
one
actually.
line wrong?
Exactly. And here's the other thing too, and I'm gonna just say this, and this is what I wanted to say to Sean. So thank you for reminding me, Paul. It's not about our memory, because I agree with you. Like if you ask me like what I did, I don't know, fucking 2 weeks ago at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, I don't fucking know, right? Unless it was I was on a call or something I had written down, I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you word for word every fucking movie to Wayne's World, every line to the movie Wayne's World. I just know it by heart. I was raised on it. These things hit you in these things hit you in this nostalgia, which is what's really interesting about them. The Bernstein Bears, right? Shitty food logos, like Kit Kats. Like if you were a health-ridden kid, you wouldn't give a shit, you know what I mean? Because you were never exposed to Kit Kats, but we were. And so we give a shit if there was a fucking dash between the motherfucker, right? It's an interesting like shot on your psyche, which is why I find the Mandela effect fascinating, man. Is because it is an indicator in my mind that something that this reality is pliable, but it does so at such a distance so you don't get scared from it, right? It's kind of giving you a hint from afar. This place is fucking pliable, dude, and it's weird, and it's shifting, but it's going to shift in weird ways that make you go, like the things out of the corner of your eye, you know what I mean? You're just like, hang on, did I just fucking see something? It makes you a little more hyper aware in a different way, and it enchants your world with magic a little bit, you know what I mean? So what's the one we were just talking about?
Becca De Mornay did not age well.
Britney
Who is
Spears'
that?
dress is also a pop.
Which one?
Britney Spears' dress.
Oh, hang on. Star Wars. We're gonna go on the Star Wars one. Paul, have you heard of the C3?
Man, you guys would not like to see my Google history.
Okay, do you remember C3PO having a silver? This is the. God damn it! I don't want to just take me to the fucking. Okay, do you remember C3PO? God, fuck off everything. Why Lego? I don't get it.
Well, I mean,
said
why not?
leg. Okay.
Leg.
Okay, here we are. All right,
Ryan,
C3PO.
Ryan, you just remind me of something. Maybe this is how we defeat
curious
the
about this.
parasites is by just looking at so much random stuff that the algorithm just can't keep track of it, and then it just
What is it you
explodes in the
want?
end.
Yeah.
And it's not weird porn shit either. It's like, would you just please
Nope.
look up random
I
porn
mean,
so we
most
can
of my
fucking be
stuff
satisfied?
is weird porn shit, but that's
None of
different-
mine is. It's this. Well, they
That-
must
the
think that
honesty.
this is what I'm cranking to, right?
It's
Is
got a
this,
That-
red
that
on
has-
now?
effects
That would have
off.
to be kept to. I'd say, like, if you keep it to like 40% or less of that, then you're
Sure.
fine.
Fair enough.
I mean,
Paul, what
I use Gemini all the time. I'm like, what's 20% of 22? You know, and it's like, oh, 26.4. I'm like, oh, thanks, Gemini. Like I love asking Google all the questions I could probably figure out on my own, but I'm now too lazy to.
But it's because you're dedicating that brain power to something willful for humanity, right? That's what you're saving it all for, is because you've got it all. It's appropriated in a positive light.
Right, squirrel videos, crazy squirrel
Yeah,
videos.
C3PO legs. Paul, have you heard of this one?
Never. And I used to collect these as a child. Never seen it. That's
Okay,
crazy.
so allegedly C3PO's leg always has been this silver color. It's always been
No,
like this.
no.
Paul's fucking losing it. I love it. Love it. I love it. The Mandela effects are crazy to me. Like these are so because they're innocuous and silly. Like who gives a shit? But what this
But
tells
the
you is
bigger question
everything.
you're asking, Brendan, is why are we only having this on small things? And I think you've answered it, which is if we knew the bigger picture, it would be maybe overwhelming. So it's only little glitches. If we go back to what Ryan was saying before about seeing these orbs, if we could see everything that was around us, perhaps we wouldn't cope. And so they look like a certain way and they appear as frequently as we can. The Mandela effect, when we're looking at all the examples, there's only, if all of us sat together, we could probably nut out 20 examples without using Google of Mandela effects. But I think part of the answer to why we don't see more of it is perhaps that we might be incapable of adjusting to how manufactured the reality we live in actually is.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't disagree. I think that there's a lot of things like this. Missing time is one I said years ago, I think is one of these. I think it's like an indicator that makes you so curious but doesn't scare you enough because you don't have anything to be scared of, right? You can't be scared of the unknown. You're scared of leaving the known. Now,
I
what
think
that
you're right,
does,
Paul. I think you're
Sorry,
absolutely
what's that?
right. It would just be just such a massive freak out. I
yeah,
think you're right.
yeah.
But where I live,
you
I
drip
walk
it.
along the foreshore every day, exactly the same route, and I've done it for 20 years, and I've seen houses there that were never there. And I'm looking at this,
I've
and I
heard
think there
about
is
this.
no way I've walked past this street for 20 years and missed like 2 or 3 houses that were never there. And I'm thinking, and I don't know why, but why that's not a big thing. It's not a cultural thing. I get that, but I think I see glimpses of it in my everyday life, and I just think, what the fuck?
Well, it would be the other side of missing time, right? Like, because I've experienced it on small scales, but like gain time where you like put a wicked lot of time or focus into something, and then you look at the clock and you're like, it's been 6 minutes. What the fuck? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because time is subjective, right? And I think that's another thing. Time is subjective. Depending on what you're doing, it's either fast or slow. And relative, depending on how old you are, how much time has gone by that you have to compare it to. It's really interesting. But yeah, I think it's all just a little bit of like, hey, tapping you on the shoulder, going, hey, this place is fucking weird. And we're letting you know because shit's about to get really fucking weird. And we're kind of like waking you up a little bit. It's wild. Hugh, what do you think of all this, man? Have you seen a UFO?
Yeah, I've seen those orb things in the air.
All right.
If you go out to like Sedona, you can see them almost every night in this one spot, and they have like tours or whatever. So yeah, it's cool.
You know, a lot of folks.
I'm interested in the Mandela effect. Like, is there a pattern, right? Is there some sort of
Yeah.
pattern that it's telling us something? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, and we're
Blues.
pattern-seeking folks. The pattern is there
Blues.
pop culture, history, and logos and weird stuff like that. So the pattern is it's pretty innocuous, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty innocuous is what they've said. Also, like the location of the Statue of Liberty. It's not on Liberty Island. It's what's the other one? The one that they brought everybody in on.
Ellis.
Island.
I've
Thank you
witnessed
very much.
that one. I saw in 8th grade the trip to New York. I looked out in the ocean and the Statue of Liberty was out there, and then now all of a sudden it's in the bay, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's
It
your
moves.
reality, man. That's how it works. Statue of Lucifer, by the way. It's awesome.
It's because of Ghostbusters it moved, you know, because it
Right,
proved it was
that's right. Thank
alive
you, Kurt.
in Ghostbusters 2.
That's right, Kurt.
Right, it's
Thank
stats,
you.
man.
Good call. Good pull, man. Good.
It's like it's a PMA statue actually. Ever since Ghostbusters 2, they proved that it's positive mental attitude.
Just shoot your ectoplasm inside of it and it'll walk around.
Oh, that's
That's
Like a
what she
wiggle.
might be
said.
on
That's
point.
what she said.
Here's another crazy one I'll mention real quick that and I don't think I've talked about this since the last time I've been on the podcast with you. So recently I've heard something called the telepathy tapes, and
Yeah.
there's a documentary you can even look up on YouTube. It is proving without a doubt that nonverbal autistic people have telepathy. They're
Oh my
doing
God.
experiments. They'll have like a random number generated. Usually the kid will be connected to like their mom or their teacher telepathically, and they'll be separated. So they'll be showing mom, whatever, a 3-digit number, random number generator, and then the kid, he'll point out the number. Like, they can't talk, but they can point out the numbers. Some of them can talk a little bit, and they will. Yeah, and it's just like 100% of the time they're like, yeah.
This reminds me of the Higgs boson experiments. Do you know about those?
No,
have you heard
what
about
was
it?
that?
The Higgs boson experiment. So they took a photon and they split it in half. And I know it's related to CERN, so take it as you will. And they took half of that photon and they took it about 30 kilometers away to another part of Europe. And when they started spinning half of that photon in one location, it started spinning at exactly the same time the other half. And it talks to that whole Einstein spooky action across distance. So yeah, they've proven that matter can impact each other across space and time. And I think what you were maybe talking to is some people have as an innate ability, maybe.
Yeah, I have an
we can
autistic
communicate across. Yeah, sorry.
I have an autistic brother. I'm 41. He's 39. He's got autism and cerebral palsy or whatever. But like, there's a connection that he had with me at one point when I lived with him. I wouldn't say I could read what he was saying, but I just knew him. But my mom and my dad, who still take care of him, and they're in their 70s. They they know what he's saying, and he's nonverbal. He can't speak, but like, it's like he doesn't even have to speak and they know what the fuck's going on. I don't know. And that could be a few things. You just live with someone for 39 years, and you kind of just know their stuff or whatever. But like, I think when Sean brought this up to me a few months ago and sent me some links to some of this stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, I think there might be something to it besides just, being around somebody long enough to know their body language or whatever. There might be more to it. I remember specifically being high as fuck. And I looked at my brother and I was like 17. Sean, I don't know if Sean was there, but one of my friends on this podcast was there. I looked at my brother. I was like, "Are you even in there, bro?" My brother, who is nonverbal, just looked at me and headbutted me right in the fucking nose. I was like, "Okay, you're there.
I don't remember
All right,
that.
my bad."
Yeah. Did you actually said
maybe
it to
try the
him, or did
telepathy
you
thing.
I said it to him out loud, and he just, which is, I don't know. I guess I have to. I'm probably not describing this properly to you guys who don't know my brother. Sean knows my brother. Brandon's met my brother at least once, and he's he's nonverbal, so he's not there, but he's 100% there. You know what I mean?
Animated. Yeah.
So
Maybe try having him guess numbers and shit instead of
Oh,
asking
he
him if
does
he's
that.
not
Oh,
real.
yeah. Sorry. Going back to that, he does that crap all the time with my mom. My mom will ask him questions and present him options, and it'll be like 50 options, and he tells you what he wants, even though he
I never
can't
heard
speak.
that. I never heard that before. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
He's
I wonder if our ability to talk actually interferes with our ability to communicate.
Oh, so
Yeah.
yes, Paul. People have talked about this, dude. Yes, and they're
Because
written
how often
for it
can
as
you
well.
say a sentence? Like, I could say a simple sentence like, um, I don't know, like I'm running out of money or whatever, and someone says, "Oh, Paul's in a really bad situation," and I'm thinking, no, actually, I'm running out of money is a good thing because I'm going to get help because of that. So you can say one line and 10 people can interpret it 3 different ways. And I wonder if since the beginning of communication, like we've just stopped our ability to say what we're really thinking, and I wonder if that verbal language is interfering. Anyway,
Well,
it's a big topic.
there's religious practices and like different mystic traditions where you stop talking and it supposedly boosts your shit.
Wow. That's
I
cool.
mean, like, it's your senses, right? So like, if you take away one sense, then it heightens the others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like Daredevil,
good
he
point,
can
Ryan.
see everything.
I
And we know
want
music
to
talks to
jump
people.
right in and say something completely off the cuff. Adam's beard is amazing.
I know. Look at that womb broom. It looks so good, right?
It
Yeah.
looks so badass, dude. That's
Looks like
great.
Santa's personal trainer.
You know what's fucked about it though? So and thank you, I appreciate the compliment. So I grew my beard out a few years ago, and I had no idea how long it could grow, and I think I told you this, mentioned this before on the show, and it grew to be like 3.5, 4 feet long. Like I could literally tuck it into my pants, like longer than my belt. So now that I know that I can grow a beard like that, uh, like it's as cool as, I know it's coming in full, but to know that I've got like 3 more feet of growth coming is just gonna be like, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, so I'm in this like anxious anticipation where I want to like force my beard to grow out, but.
You're gonna be like the
Thank you.
monk
Yeah,
from Diablo,
well,
Diablo 3, dude. You just like
Well,
just
see-
this badass.
well,
You get
so
some sick braids in it, like just two, and everything else just like how you doing? Leather at the end of them, dude. Oh,
yeah, fucking gnarly it
crush
up.
puss, dude. Yeah.
But to maybe wrap it all as we're talking about 2025 and how all the crazy shit's going down, it really is like whatever. I'm going for that fucking warlock wizard whatever stuff because it's probably gonna turn to some crazy shit, and it's like whatever. I want to have a certain look.
Gandalf.
There's
Yeah,
a guy
the,
following
the
Instagram
DMT
with a knife
Gandalf.
out of his ponytail. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, he fucking whips it out.
The ninja guy.
Oh yeah.
He like throws a
But thank
knife
you,
out.
Ryan. I appreciate the bid.
Well, we hadn't seen each other, and I guess
Yeah.
it's been a couple months since we've done one of these shows together. And I was like, "Holy shit! Look at that beard! I can't grow one." You know, I'm
Neither can
41.
I.
They call me Patches at work. You know.
They're itchy.
Yeah.
I can grow them, but it's just the 2-3 week mark. It's just like I wanted, just like drive me crazy.
I would love to be able to grow a beard. I just can't do it. I'm cool with the little chin thing, maybe
It's looking
the
better.
mustache, but that's it.
It's
It
looking
looks
cool.
fine, Ryan.
Oh,
Left
thanks.
good tier.
You look like a rock star.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah. Okay, I pulled this guy up, and then we'll probably wrap it here in a little bit. We'll have a couple final thoughts here, and then go to some music, which we do off air because of copyrights and whatnot. But check this motherfucker out. Watch this shit.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
Did he throw one with his hair?
With his ponytail. Watch. Take it.
Yeah, he's got a few
fucking kicking
videos.
him and shit.
I don't
love
even know
this
why
guy.
I exist anymore.
Here, I'll
Look at
give
this
you
guy.
guys his. Yeah,
I'd like to
You
know
wouldn't
this
want to get
guy's
that wrong and go to your
Take it.
chest.
I love this dude. He is such a badass. Look at this fucking guy.
Badass.
I'd like to know who his
Uh,
life insurance
he-
provider is.
Yeah, well, we don't worry about that. He
He works for the cartel.
Oh yeah, okay. Just throw a screwdriver at you, boy.
He kills
He's a debt
people.
collector.
God,
This guy is a weapon.
no shit. He was kicking him too.
Whoa.
Watch, he gets better at this, of course.
Shit.
How many times do
wanna-
you think he stabbed his foot?
That's what I'm saying, right? Look at that. Can you imagine?
Good point,
But
Ryan.
if I am gonna go out, like, come on, that'd be such a good way to die. This dude gets to kick a knife in your throat.
Yeah, it's over. I'm
I
cool.
would
only need
I'm
one
cool
guy.
with
If I'd
that
have
death.
picked that one right there, that fucking, I'd
That's
be like,
totally
look at that.
different.
You go up to heaven and
Look at that.
whoever
You
the
just
hell
had it on
that
his
dude's
foot.
supposed to be up there is like reliving your life, and he's like, "Yeah, so you got throat stabbed by a dude kicking a fucking knife in your throat."
Be like, yeah, but it got 108 views, dude. 108,000 views. It really boosts my algorithm. But I just love that. And then he just has it sitting on his foot and he goes, yeet, and just flings it. Anyway, I'll drop his shit in the chat because I think he's fucking neat.
That's pretty
Instagram, what is it? Ninja Nest 72. That's how many knives he can throw at your face at once.
Yeah, that's cool.
You don't know where he's
I would,
keeping
I
them
would
all.
not let him anywhere near my knives.
I would.
Just
I'd be
out of
like, dude,
principle.
just show me. Yeah. All right. Anybody have any final thoughts or anything before we wrap this up? We'll link everybody that wants to be linked down in the show description for all of you listening and watching later. And thank you for joining us for this all over the board. We're just talking about whatever. Everybody love on Paul. All of his stuff is linked. For guys local, it's in the chat, but also down there. Go show him some love. Give him some plays because he's fucking sick as shit. And we hope that he will write some songs with us in our internet band, Blurred Dicks. for our
Blurred
first
Dicks!
album, Hidden in Plain Sight, our first album. Okay, we will talk about that, though, later. All the music choices that we're about to get to now will also be linked down below. That is a Spotify playlist because that's the centralized platform that we have right now that will aggregate all of our music at once. Not happy with it. You guys also leave the email down there so that you can, when you come up with something better for us to switch to, promote, and all that good shit, then let me know. We'll do that. But for now, it's over there on fucking Spotify there, and it is the Frequency Theorist 2020. Shit, we need to start a new one then. 2025 then. Okay, it'll be a
2025,
freshie. Fresh playlist. Okay. Well, there'll be another one up there anyway. All right, if everybody just wants to say where they're from, and we'll go around there, and then we can cap it, and we'll get into the fucking after party here. Please, whoever wants to say bye.
See ya. I'm from Texas.
Can I give a little rant?
Bring that
A
shit.
short rant. So I'm fortunate enough to be very close friends with you, and I really appreciate how much we've been able to help each other go through some bullshit, some dark stuff, some real personal things. I have a really, really great inner circle, and just the beginning, how we all came together, with laughter, fun, all that shit, to talk about, Paul and helping him out. But I think that was just a really great example again, and I know I brought this up, but the fact that we're not alone, we are in this together, and with all this turbulent, crazy shit going on, we all have unique skill sets, and we all have areas where we're more powerful, and we can really help one another. And I think it's important to know that collectively we can be a fucking force. And individually, yeah, we could get crushed by this shit. But collectively, we really can hold each other up and lift each other up. And it's these weird kind of groups like this of these unique people that we really got to keep sharing our weird uniqueness, because we'll fill in all the cracks of one another. And I think we can really do it. And personally, Brandon, thank you for recently reaching out and all that shit. But I think throughout the year, we're going to need it, because it's only going to get weirder. So I can be there for people to lean on, and I appreciate you guys being there for me to lean on myself. So thank you all.
Love the shit out of you, man.
Hello.
Adam
I think
Bubba.
Great.
I think to that point, also being aware of it definitely helps. Like it's about to get super weird. Like, oh yeah, we're expecting that shit for about a year now.
Yeah, so fucking lean into it.
You guys
I'm
are my
grateful to be here
friends.
too.
We're
Oh,
friends.
you too, man.
I really appreciate the invite. This is definitely my kind of party.
Yeah, and the way it works, man, you get the invite to the next one. So we're gonna get more official exchange of information in here whenever we cut. But yeah, dude, thank you so the fuck much for being here, man. This was awesome. And Hugh, dude, welcome back anytime. This is awesome.
Thanks. This was awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brandon.
Oh, thank you guys. Okay, well, we'll cut the recording here and get to the music so we can hang out and play. But love you all, and we'll talk again soon. Okay,
Thank you.
bye.